Everyone, and welcome to another interview on Human. Today we will be interviewing Basirah Raheem, a young lady who is a poet of the unseen that has dedicated her life to cultivating art in a sacred way for other people to learn how she does it. She even has devoted her life to teaching the discovery of art, or sacred art, to say the least. Today we will be finding out her story. Let us bring her on. Ooh, oh my God.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
This is why I am smiling now. Wow, this
Okay.
is great. We are here. I'm sorry. I just needed a moment to
Yeah.
decompress. I know it's been a while for us trying to work this out. And so finally
Yes.
we are here today. Wow. Ooh, so how are you doing first and foremost? I just wanted to start off that way.
I'm doing good. Doing
This
good.
is good.
It's a
Okay.
beautiful rainy day. I love the rain.
I
But
get
other
you.
than that, just grateful to be here. How about you? How are you?
I'm grateful to be here as well. I recently, some people know, some people don't, but I'll say it here. I have a herniated disc. So when
Yeah.
I first wake up, I have to deal with that immediately. And then after dealing with the herniated disc, I have to go throughout life and continue to push forward, which brings us here today. I'm not a person that easily gives up.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know me, I know that I may be fairly new to some people. So, of course, my name is Troy. I'm also known as Wise Truth. And I was homeless for 15 years, and then I decided to turn around and start a platform and a company that both helps people on the creative sector and to get their life story out and brings their story to life. One thing I wanted to say here, and actually now have you, please introduce yourself. I know and there's a lot to unpack here, so yeah, for those who don't know you, please introduce yourself. And I hear that the person has texted and herniate
Yeah,
this. Yes, it's nothing to play with. So
for sure. Well, my name is Basirah Raheem, and I am a poet. I'm a seeker of knowledge and an inspirational speaker. I also want to talk about a little bit about like where I first started. So I started off emceeing, so I was a rapper, and I did, enter into spaces of poetry before I started rapping, but I always saw rapping as a way out to get out of the hood and to like find my, big house and help my mom and all that. But then when I started to realize my journey was one that is going to be rooted in suffering if I don't truly focus on my connection with the divine.
mm,
And it was one day I came home from, I used to party promote in New York City. And I just asked God, I was like, God, please save me from myself because I feel like I want all these things that are not good for me. And that they are keeping me from being who I truly want to be. And so going on that path, I started to really look more into my own self, the things I needed to fix, the trauma, the things I wanted to work on with myself. And on that journey, I started to make music that focused on that. And then as I started to expand in that musical realm, I wanted to focus on the holy book, the Quran, and learn
mhm.
from it. Learn how to write in a way that's more beautiful. And so from that, poetry came. I recently published my first collection of poems, The Dissolving Cloud. And it really is a story from like spiritual, like a spiritual discipline journey that started off as a place of hardness. My heart was so hard. Like, I didn't even want to see the heart shape. Like, I literally despised that heart shape. Like, people would draw hearts or heart rings or whatever. I hated it. And I realized it's because I was so hard. And now, going on this journey, even of like sacred feminine energy, learning how to love myself and learning to be loved by the
Mhm.
divine has really changed the way that I approach my art and how I share that with others and service others.
So what I wanted to do is thank you for the intro. I appreciate that, and we're going to touch on a lot of those subjects. Um, I want to start from the beginning. So
Mhm.
here at Human, we cover the whole life story from your immaculate conception to who you are now and everything in between, encapsulating
Mhm.
your human experience.
Yeah.
And I first want to start off with, where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, Orange and Newark. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I grew up all around, but mainly Orange and Newark. Yeah, and a lot of my art and everything that I've made had everything to do with my experience being a creative from Orange, exploring that in Newark. Newark really nurtured my artistry a lot. Yeah.
Hmm. Did you have both parents in the household? Just to ask that question,
No,
have a no. Okay,
no,
okay, okay.
no, yeah.
So what, see, the question I have is for both. So what I'll do is I'll reframe it and say, what is a trait that you learned from one of your parents or who was the closest to you in the household that exemplified or encouraged you to be the person you are today through through an example of a certain behavior or trait?
Definitely my mom. My mom raised me. My mom, she poured so much of her time and energy into, who I am today. And I think just seeing how she sacrificed, and she did it because she knew that my life was important and my life was special. So I think what I learned from her is to give even when you don't have, because God will bless you with more.
Mm,
And that really shapes me who I am now, because even when I was like younger, I was like, why are you giving that? You don't even have it, da, 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 But now, as a Muslim woman, and my mom's Christian, so learning, I was like, Mom, you more Muslim than me. Like I be telling her all the time, I'm like, because that's the whole thing, being a Muslim, like you have to give, even if you don't have, that's because it's not yours. In the Quran it says, give to Allah a goodly loan, meaning like that's not your money. Like I gave you that. God is like, I gave you that. So give it to those in need and you will see the benefits of it when you're dead and gone. And so I see that my
mm,
mom, she will give her last, she would give the shirt off her back to her children, and just seeing that. And even when people need it and she doesn't have, and she can provide them shelter and food and all those things, just her character of like, she's just so sweet. MashaAllah. I love my mom.
mm.
Yeah, so.
How does that, like what you just explained, how do you think that translates into walking in faith and not
Mm,
fear?
that's a good question. Okay, questions. Um,
Thank you.
um,
Thank
I think that translates because it reminds you that your provision comes from God. Like you can't be fearful of poverty. You can't fear poverty. You have to, if you experience the lowest of the low and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to, do that." You're going to do everything to not go back there, right? But fearing poverty can become something you worship. Like that fear
you.
of poverty can be something that is always on your mind, always on your mind. So seeing that my mom would give even her last, she was like, it's okay, God's gonna bless me, God's gonna bless me. Not having fear of like not having. And she always knew God would take care of her. So yeah.
Mm, mm. I wanted to dive deep and go in a slightly different direction. How would you
Mhm.
describe being raised on rhythm and revelation? Now,
Ooh.
how do those coincide? When I read that, I was like, wow, this
Mhm.
is actually quite profound.
Yeah.
And so I needed to find out what that looks like for you.
So the beauty of connecting when you understand who you are and like the culture you're surrounded around, right? Like, so for me, I grew up in hip hop culture, and it was very important for me to communicate in a way that was always creatively expressive. It might have been elongated or, extra, but it was always expressive in a creative way. So when I think about rhythm, I think about the heartbeat. I think about how the heartbeat has its own unique rhythm, and everyone's heartbeat is not synced, but it is a rhythm that if you are next to someone long enough, it will start to sync, and you will be able to see that. And so that rhythm is a frequency, right?
Mm,
So growing up within a hip hop community culture and all of that, understanding that I align with many things and principles that hip hop is, and what it is for, what it, not what it is for now, but what it was
I
for
understand
then.
what you're saying.
Okay, like what it was for then. Um,
Yes, yes.
my mom, she would beatbox and be like, "Go ahead, do something." My mom raps. Like, we've done performances on the stage together where, I'm talking about how my mom raised me, taught me the 50 states and capitals, this and that. The rhythm of the heartbeat is love. It's a love frequency. And so when I think about that in connection to revelation, right, it has everything to do with what you see there. You can read Revelation, any book that has like an ounce of truth in it. You can literally see, oh, is this happening right now? Like, this is actually happening right now. Or there are some aspects of hypocrisy that you could be like, am I a hypocrite, or is that me that's like, reading things and really reading into how it can change your life, or how it's a self-help book. Any holy book can be a self-help book if you look at it from a perspective that it's not here to, you know, um, be like this, oh, this is what happened in the past. No, revelation is literally here to reveal you. So the rhythm and the revelation is always succinct, it's connected. And so while my heart is beating, while it is like syncing up with other hearts, the revelation reveals me to like my purpose, my natural instinct, my natural inclination to who I'm meant to be, who I was always meant to be.
Mm, that was really well put. I just have to say that. I have to give credit where credit is due.
I appreciate you.
Did you start getting in touch with your soul from a young age? And what did that look like for you?
It's a possibility because, I think through art you can do that. Like my mom had me in dance since I was 3 years old. I feel like learning your body, you have to accept your body, right? And so at a young age, at 3 years old, learning that, I think my mom knew what she was doing. She wanted me to understand how my body was for me as a child and accept myself and be confident as a black girl. She was like, yeah, my daughter's gonna be princess. She's gonna be confident. She's gonna do all the, dance recitals. And within that, I did a lot of praise dance in church, growing up. And so I think the spirituality of praise dance as well really helped me to connect with God on a different level, because I'm having a conversation with my body, with God. Like, I'm not actually speaking now. I'm actually like, you gave me this vessel to worship you, and I'm learning how to do that through praise dance. So I think my mom connected those two for me, because when we kids, we don't know what we want. Like, it's very important to have someone there who's willing to pick up the pieces and guide you. If you don't have that, we have that experience, that adversity that we go through, that really helps to shape who we become, which it can be for the better, or it could be for, for like not the better, or like something that really can, make people dislike who that person is. And I won't even go into the orange person, but I will definitely say, there was some raising there that didn't sync up. Like, it was more about money and like, that. So like when my mom poured into me, she knew like, okay, I want my daughter to have this relationship with God. I don't know what it's going to be like for her, but I'm going to put her in dance. I'm going to bring her to church. She's going to learn praise dance. She's going to be in the choir. So I do feel like because of my mom, that spirituality connected at a young age, but I didn't know what it would be now. Like there's no way I knew that this all would happen.
There's a question that comes about. I remember when we was talking earlier in the conversation, we talked about hip hop, the hip hop from before and the hip hop of now.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the difference between the two? Even though it's evident, I believe, like we could definitely hear it clearly, right? I mean, I used to rap myself. I
Mhm.
was in rap battles.
Hey.
I was doing a lot of things. I was a lyricist and I produced some music for a while.
I can see that.
But
I can see that because you
thank,
speak really
thank
well.
you.
The way you speak, it's very how can I say, like your cadence of how you speak, it's like, I know what I'm saying, I'm confident. So it's like an MC speaking. So I get that.
Thank you very much.
Really
I mean,
do.
same with you though. You definitely have a vibrance to you.
Appreciate you.
Um, yeah, I respectfully, you're a
I
beautiful
appreciate that.
individual,
Thank you.
respectfully.
And
So
you
I
as
just want to
well.
say that.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much, and thank you for
Of
coming on to share your story for real. This was,
course.
I have some questions that I think are really going to take you back, and I'm looking forward
Okay.
to hearing your responses.
Okay.
But yeah, so how would you describe the difference between hip hop before and the hip hop today, and what was so profound about the hip hop before?
Mm.
I know what my answer would be, but I'd rather you go first.
You were like, this is something I've been wanting to say for a minute, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let you finish. Um, yeah, hip hop then was just so much more pure. It's like, hip hop is for the purist. That's what I truly
Mm,
believe. I think it's for people who are genuinely appreciative of music. Like they are musicians at heart. So they use especially MCs use their voice as a instrument, an instrument to heal, an instrument to understand tonality, cadence, and really also to experience the English literature in a whole new way because it changes the way you see English, as well as it really connects people deeply to the art of storytelling and the importance of storytelling. That's really
mm,
where storytelling became popular, I feel. We always had our, canon artists who, or like African, the African American diasporic canon literature artists that always did, their thing, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison. We have so many artists, so many like literature artists that really held true to the pen. But when you look at hip hop, there was something that we were meant to carry from that we really needed to maintain. And I feel like it's been maintained and preserved very well. That's not ever going to go anywhere. That's going to be etched in history forever. That's not going to go
mm,
anywhere. And so with hip hop, then it was a literary art. I don't feel like it was something that was, or like an art and culture. I don't feel like it was something that was seen as that. But now you see how you had the 50th year anniversary, like maybe like 2 years ago. You see how it was genuinely an art form and how it was something that people now they want to put in their museums and stuff like that. And
mm,
so with that aspect, it was a social belief and way of life and constructs, just a way of living. And I feel like hip hop today is just a cash cow. It's literally a cash
mm,
cow. It's not even, it doesn't amount to what it was meant to do. It was meant to heal the community and meant
mm,
to provide safety and keep people off of the street, off of drugs, and also
mm,
keeping people connected to their African roots in
mm,
a newfound, profound way. Because they do that in Africa. The cipher thing, that's an African thing. Like I've seen it in Senegal, I've seen it in Gambia. The way they gather in circles, drum circles. That's our culture. That's who we are. Even in indigenous, if you're indigenous to America and you're listening, that's who we are. Circles are a thing, and the energy that we put into that, the cipher especially, is the art form that will always live because it's an energy. It's not going anywhere. Yeah.
mm. You made it difficult for me to follow up with that, but I'm gonna just go ahead
Yes.
and
Okay.
say and say it. What I respected about hip hop before was the energy that went into it in terms of it being a movement for us, a movement of not only expression, but a movement that lets you know what was going on within those times and how, like, Fight the Power is a really good explanation of that, right? That song is a really like people were really fighting the power that be
Yeah.
to be like, hey, we deserve a chance to live and be
That's,
acknowledged as human beings. And just
mm,
like other music that came before it, the era of Jimi Hendrix,
mm,
a couple of other eras that were before that, Ray Charles, a whole bunch of eras of where
60s. Oof.
especially black musicians had
Yes.
to take a stance for their right to even be in certain spaces, and then how hip hop started that and carried into certain spaces, of course, and then it was ruptured a little bit by the sampling nature, right? They then came about and like, hey, y'all sampling, y'all doing too much sampling, so that was a trip up in its own right, I guess you can say, that then destabilized. But then corporations started to get involved with hip hop, and I thought that was very interesting. That's when it took a turn to what now is we conceive as the industry, right? And that's where it became a problem, I feel like. And
Mm,
that's what we see now is the industrialization
oof.
of hip hop, the industrialization of the music that we've
Mm,
known, or the culture, let me say the culture as a whole that we've
mhm,
grown to love, right?
mm,
Especially us growing up. And I really like the lyrics from back then. Like I said before, I was a lyricist. I really like the lyrics has it definitely had meaning. You had to decipher what they were saying within the cipher, right? And so now I'm not, I could definitely tell what you're saying now. Okay, like in the rap music, I'm like, okay, it's kind of straightforward, and maybe I don't even want to maybe listen to that. Not to put
Yeah.
down on young artists of today. God bless their souls. I just grew up in a time where hip hop was just true to one's heart,
Yeah.
and it really did shape and craft the way that I went about life. To be honest with you, I still listen to a dynamic duo that I feel like was underrated to this day by the name of Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Pete Rock is still doing music. He does
Yeah.
music. He just came out with an album with Common. CL Smooth is a little different. His
Mhm.
era, I feel like, kind of came and went, but he still does perform. But if you listen to that time, the Mecca, all right, they was talking about the Mecca, right? At that time, that was profane.
Yeah.
It was just
So profound. Yeah.
like,
There was so.
even to this day, when I listen to it, I'm like, ooh, Return of the Mecca. Oh my God, that was just for those who have never heard of Pete Rock and CL Smooth, I definitely do encourage you to check out that era of music because his lyricism was just so like, ooh,
Yeah.
he was way beyond his time. And you know what it was? It wasn't violent. It wasn't crazy. It was a form of the truth, where he was telling what he had experienced in the best way he knew how without putting down the community that he represented. And I thought that was very interesting, an interesting stance.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, man. Pete Rock is legend, pioneer, like
yes,
legendary. Yeah.
yes,
His
yes,
storytelling is
yeah. P
on
Rock,
point.
but see, so P Rock was the beat maker in that situation, but CL Smooth, okay, so there's a
Was the
song that's
rapper. Yeah.
is the rapper. The
Yeah.
song that's named after me was really good. It's called Troy. They reminisce over you. It's about
Mhm.
a guy who's named Trouble T. Roy, and
Yeah.
he wound up passing away from situations that were unfortunate. It's the best way
Mhm.
I can say that. But regardless, that whole dedication, like, because literally, what do people do when you pass away? They reminisce over you, literally,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the documentary that he was in, but like it's so crazy because I realized like it doesn't matter who the hip hop artist is or what they did, whether they were graffiti artists, break dancers, or DJs, they just are amazing storytellers. Like and because I've watched so many interviews of Pete Rock, that's why I'm saying he's an amazing storyteller. The things that he's come up with for people to perfect the DJing skill, like hands down the innovation, but so simple. This is like I'm just like saying this is African diasporic indigenous energy because like yeah, we just gonna take a crayon and we gonna make sure we know how to bring it back. So I just like the way he opens up about his life when he's doing interviews in his studio. And yeah, there's a lot of or was that wait no is that was that Pete Rock or Teddy? No, Teddy raps. No, that was
yeah,
Pete
P
Rock.
Rock is a DJ for sure, a DJ and DJ slash producer.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's how I
He
know
did the
Pete Rock.
crayon though. I'm talking about the same person who did the crayon on the records, and he would like learn how to like spin it back when he would do the crayon. Like the mark, so he knew.
Yeah, yeah, where to stop it at,
Was that Pete
basically. But
Rock
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest
or
with
was
you. I
that
only know so much about P Rock.
Theodore Roosevelt? I'm trying to think. Was that Teddy or Theodore? I think it was Pete Rock
Okay.
because when I was watching the interview, I remember him talking about how crazy like that thing was just such a big thing, the crayon, and like how everybody started stealing it, and he was like, yeah, and then that's how we knew what a break was. So I think it was him, but I will reconfirm. I could be incorrect. Okay. So I will reconfirm.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Oh, but you know who was good? Sly and the Stones. What's the
Okay.
name? What is the name of that artist? It's
I'm trying to
Sly and the
think.
Stone Diggers or something. It was actually a documentary that Questlove just came out with recently. I didn't see it, but Sly just
Oh,
died recently, actually. The actual person that that
um,
documentary was about, he passed away. He was pivotal to
mm,
how music went, in the direction music went in. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? I thought that
I
was
have to
really,
look. I have to
really
look it
crazy.
up. You got to understand too. My brain can only fit so much. I'm learning Arabic right now, so like the way Arabic wants to push everything out, it's not even funny.
Interesting. I'm learning German right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm learning German. Yeah, German
Wow.
and a little bit of Spanish. I actually know a little bit of Spanish, a little bit, and I'm
Okay.
also learning German. Um,
Okay.
because I do want to take what I'm doing here with you international. It's already international, but I do
Yeah,
want to go to
definitely.
these places and actually speak to people face to face.
Definitely
So
will. You definitely will.
thank you. Thank you. Now, here we go. Back to the questions at hand. At 16, you wanted to become a creative director. How did you discover the language art speaks without words?
Mm. When I go into a museum, I like stare at art for so I could stare at art for so long, and I can understand a conversation that is unseen, that I never saw how it was made or what was the point of it, what was the original inspiration, but it does something for me. And so with creative direction, I've always wanted to show visuals or connect with, individuals, collaborate with them and make visual art, that didn't necessarily need talking, or make, studio art. Like when I was going to school, I didn't know that I wanted to paint and do all those things. For me, it's a stress reliever, you
Mm,
know, and also like 2D and 3D design, like those things, making trash into like 3D art is like so fun. Like, and I never would have thought it would be something I would be interested in, but it had to be those people to bring it out of me and to like help me see. So when I was discovering this kind of like silent language with art, it was because I stayed quiet and I just let the art speak. Silence is like a language, like the best language to communicate with God, the creator, the one who has created all of this, all of us, our bodies, our everything, our vessels, and we are works of art, literally, and so being silent and listening to my heart, being silent and reflecting on what this art piece could mean and how I can take inspiration from that and translate that into something that can really connect to people when it comes to whatever it is that I'm doing. So if somebody hires me as a creative director, I'm bringing in real art, like inspiration,
mm,
not just visual, but like from hip hop culture, from, you know, African culture, from Islamic heritage. Like all of this is so important to me because also Islam is expressed differently throughout the world. But there's one thing in common. And the one thing I can definitely say is the returning to the creator, like going back. Everyone's working to go back. So they're investing in this one to live lavishly in the next. And so
mm.
having to be silent a lot of the times requires that communication with the divine, which in Arabic we call it ilham, which is divine inspiration. And it only comes when silence happens. It can come, anytime you can see something, oh, that's inspiring. But this type of deep inspiration that only God could plant in you, only the creator could plant in you, comes when silence happens. So the world around you is silent and everything around you is quiet and you can now listen to your inner. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That was very deep.
Yeah.
I wanted to also say, how did you come to understand that color, fabric, and form could carry
Mhm.
emotion, tell truths, and heal
Mhm.
wounds? Now, that was another part that was profound to me. So
Yeah.
please.
Colors are expressions of our actual feelings, you know.
Mm,
I recognize that when we want to blend in, we like to stick to, earth tones, black, or we don't want people to really see us. We wear black, we want to hide ourselves a bit.
mm,
So we'll wear black to kind of like, because it protects our aura or like what's around us. People can't really see your bright light, like, because when you wear color, people automatically flock to you. They're like, oh my gosh, this orange or this yellow, because that's the mood that someone's in. So whenever I think about color in this way of like self-expression and how we literally show up, one can say, okay, I may be in a state of, darkness because I'm wearing black, but really I'm in a state of light, right? Because I want to be able to protect that light wearing that. And so within each aspect of what I do or what anyone does, color plays a huge part of how you see yourself, right? Like however you see yourself, whether it is, you know, okay, this shade is like more brown tone or this shade is more, but really the reality is, right? You can see yourself in this tonality of color of skin, but who you are is pure light. And so that light can be radiating any color at any point. Like people can see, like, I don't know, when I see you, I just see green, or like, and this is like really important to understand with auras and like
Yes,
connecting
I had a feeling you
to
was
the
going there.
color palette of, like who we are. And so essentially what do these colors mean? It can mean different things from different backgrounds, cultures, and it's all about what you understand it to mean. But we always ask God to help us, understand with clear intentions. Like we want to know how we can be aligned with the divine at all times. And so asking, the divine to align us with that intention to see how the divine would see, so that it's clear to us what this color is for. And so one of my favorite colors is green. And the way that I move throughout life is that I'm always talking to trees. Like I just feel like it was always like that for some time. I always wanted to like be on the grass bare, like just sit down, no rug or no blanket, take my shoes off. The green is vitalization. People say, "Oh, you like money. You like money." I was like, "Why do you think green is just that?" So people connect color to experiences, to who they are and what they are, where they're at intentionally in that moment. So if somebody's just like, "I'm all about money," when they see green, they're going to see money. So I can tap in and understand where someone's at when they see a color, or how they
Mm,
really vibrate with a color
mm,
based on what they are explaining to me that color means for them. Like, "Oh, you like green a lot. You wear green, you like money." And I was like, "No, actually, I love the earth." And the Prophet Muhammad Sallam's favorite color is green. And I love it because he was one of the most beautiful souls, So, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, like that. I could imagine like wanting to have my character purified like that. So I think
mm,
green is about vitalization and putting life into you. So when it comes to color, it exists in many different aspects, and anything that you do, you can say, "Oh, this is giving me blues right now," right? The music, even you think about, this is giving me blues, but it's like blues are not necessarily sadness, right? The ocean is blue, the sky is blue. It could be like, "Oh, blues is giving me hope through sadness," or the sadness is giving me, an awareness of the deepest parts of me. So there's so many ways that you can interpret color when it comes to like your spiritual expansion of like what you want to kind of connect to someone with, but you have to be aligned with colors in your own way, like that help you to really align with what the divine wants for you. And it takes time to get there.
mm,
And it takes time to really own that, because there are different states of being, right? Like red can be a state of like where you're angry, or where you're in a state of like deep hurt or pain. Or red can be a state of when you're in love, right? Which can also result into deep pain and like, all these different things. So really understanding how color connects to you. But I do know green is a color of vitalization, right? Black is a color of not knowing stuff. So this thing is like unknown. When people see
mm,
black, they see unknown. And that's perhaps why, even within the context of being a black woman, or surrounded around people who are, within that space as well, we often find ourselves misunderstood, and so, but what they don't know is that they don't know.
mm, mm,
So the connection to color is very deep and vast spiritually, but it also can be very upfront and, basic. It all depends on how the person sees it, but I see it like as a deep way to read a person, or to read the way I communicate with someone, or how someone sees me. I can automatically tell if we're going to be able to be tribe or not. Like I'm like, okay. the way you see that is not the way I would see that. So
So I have a
no.
different question for you then, and
Okay.
it's more directly directed towards this instant that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I did first see when you decided to follow the platform, and
Yeah.
curiosity did strike. So I did look into you
Mm-hmm.
as an individual. That's my job as a journalist.
Yeah.
But I was also like, so now that we're talking about color, what color do you see? I mean, obviously, I'm wearing white. I do that on
Yeah.
purpose. With certain individuals, I wear white when I interview them. With
Mm-hmm.
certain individuals, I wear black when I interview them. There's
Yeah.
no good or bad about that. It's just
Right. No, no.
the individual I'm interviewing. I know what's going
Yeah.
on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I wanted to ask was, yeah, so what color do you see in me? And I guess in so many words, what made you decide to, I guess, want to come on and because for you to choose to want to come on in some way or another, we're like tribe, even if we're not direct tribe, you're
Yeah.
taking your time and sharing it with me, and I'm grateful for that
For sure.
beyond, a lot of people's imagination. But I'm just curious, you know?
So for you, I think when we got on the call earlier and we were like talking, because I didn't get to like
Anything.
connect with you in the, but like for me, it's all about like the instant that we like connect that I can see. But for you, it was like yellow. Like I was like, why is it so yellow? Like so I'm like, why is it so yellow? What?
Tell me I'm Big Bird without telling me I'm Big Bird. That's how
No,
I'm
but
telling you.
no, I think it can mean many things, but yellow is, it's a beautiful color to connect to in abundance. Like a lot of people connect yellow with abundance, you know,
Okay.
gold. Maybe some people see the gold or yellow gold. Corn, you can continue to grow corn off of corn. Like it just never runs out. But I think
I guess.
what I see more so is just what you bring into people, like just that awareness of yourself and also this kind of glowing energy. So like yellow is like what it's giving right now. It might be different
Respect.
another day, but yellow is definitely what it's giving for sure.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
And do you think the aura can change? So I see myself as multidimensional, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm not just one particular way all the time. I do a good
Yeah.
job of representing myself in many different situations. Well, I
Mhm.
know that I definitely try to treat people the way that I want to be treated
For sure.
continuously, no matter what the situation is, literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, do you think the aura of a person can change,
Mm.
regarding the different situations that they engage in?
Of course, like, it's really spiritual warfare out here. I just want to say that.
It is.
It's just getting me. I'll
It
be in the
is.
house. I'll be like, no, I'm not coming outside. Because it's yeah, I'll be like board up the windows, board up the lock the doors because exchange with people can literally it can change your whole entire energy and your aura can change. That doesn't necessarily mean that can be a bad thing. It can be a lesson for you to kind of understand what that exchange was. And this is something that I've learned from just doing atonement.
Mm,
Uh, Reiki, I became a Reiki master about 2.5 years ago. And I was studying for some time. I think I was studying since before I was Muslim because I really wanted to understand what atonement and vibrations and sound, what does it mean to heal through sound?
mm,
What colors arise during this time of hearing these vibrations? And I recently had got a massage done and it was like a healing bowl massage. And I had my eyes closed. The colors that were coming in, I literally can tell you I don't remember being able to see that much color with my eyes closed since I was a kid.
mm.
Because I don't know if you remember like being young and like you would close your eyes, you could see like colors and all this. But then, you know, you become an adult. It's like, I could see blues, I could see yellows, I could see greens, all these different colors when you're just laying down. Even when I used to be in school or like we had nap time, like I'll just be like, I see so many colors. But that's because the inner child is thriving, at a place of thriving. But if I'm closing my eyes at certain points in time, sometimes if I see just black, I'm literally like, this world is drowning my inner child and she is in the depths of the ocean. She is like, hello. I want to see the sunlight. I want to see purples. I want to see greens. So I truly believe that when we don't vibrate off of vibrancy of color as adults, our inner child is literally like, you know, suffering. Like, I had to wear some type of color, like today I was like, yeah, I have on all black, but
It's a
we're gonna
beautiful
wear
color, by the way.
some type of color, turquoise. So but I'm now getting back into color. I was like wearing black and beiges and whites and all that.
I think that you would like jade. I had jade, so I have gauges underneath the headphones. You can't see them, but they're there. And
Okay.
so I had a pair of jade gauges, and I really fell in love with jade,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
The way that it looks, the color of it, that green, uh,
Mhm.
earth tone green at that. Earth tone
Yes.
green is my thing. I love earth tone green. I love the way you actually broke down the color green, to be honest with you, which was very great.
I
I
love that.
wanted to switch lanes a little bit and
Okay.
continue moving forward and ask you, how did, from a young age, how did you know from a young age that creativity wasn't for decoration,
Mm.
but destiny? Now that right there, again, is profound.
Thank
So,
you.
you're welcome.
I appreciate that. Because we come from the creator. It's as simple as that. You align with your destiny the moment you are created. You just have to go back because we come from the land of souls that bore witness. When someone's like, "Oh, our souls aligned in another realm," it sure did. It did. We probably bumped. We probably like was moving all up in there. I don't know, like just souls. And then boom, I'm in this flesh now. Now we got to figure it out all over again. Okay. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is this? What is it? Everything involves creativity, but it can't be something you dress yourself with as like, oh yeah, I'm creative because the way I look. It's like, no, you're creative because the creator made you. That's
Mhm.
just what it is. And it's not your creativity that you have. Like I said before, that ilham, that divine inspiration is from before, from a long time ago.
So, I want to bring this into, I love the way that you're speaking. For those who probably are not like truly understanding the complexity of
Yeah.
what you're saying, though I can understand it clear as day, but there will be some people that don't understand. And I just want to share a story with you as to how I can relate to that.
Okay.
I'm really good at simplifying complexity. So the V in human just stand for something. And I do
Okay.
own a operation called the Ghost Project.
Okay.
The Ghost Project was before human was around, right? The Ghost
Mhm.
Project I thought of, human came to me. I tell people, and I told someone in a magazine and in an interview that somebody recently did about my life, there is a difference between ideas you think of and
Mm,
ideas that come to you. So when you talk about the divine and how that gives you different sources of creation,
mhm,
right? And it's already in you. Let's lead back to the Ghost Project. Paranormal activity, right? You start off as
mhm,
a paranormal entity before entering the body as a ghost in the shell and living out the human
mhm,
experience inside your vessel,
mhm,
right? Hence
mhm.
the V inside human. So they both tie together. A lot of
Okay.
people don't understand the deep meaning of how those two tie together, but that's just me here
Wow.
to say it and more bring it into a slight simplification, even though I know other people will be able to understand exactly what you're saying. But for those who may have a slight trouble, I just added an extra different perspective for them to be able to relate to you on. All right,
Love
using
that.
myself as an example.
Love
So
that.
I
Love
just
that.
wanted to say that I love what you're saying here. I've loved every word of it. And as we continue, the questions will only get more and more uh, complex. But I know that you
Mhm.
could definitely, it's built to have you open up the way you've been opening up. So
I
I,
appreciate that.
you're very welcome. No problem. If there's anything else you want to say about that last statement, please go ahead.
I don't think I have anything to say because I didn't know that.
Oh,
So I'm just like, wow, okay, that's
oh,
great.
thank you.
It aligns,
It
like
does.
so.
That's exactly
I,
why I brought it up. I knew I don't talk about myself a lot during my interviews because it's about you,
no,
and that's
yeah.
what the interview is for. But I thought that that would be a great time to show just an example of something that's in real life in real time that I understand at a very
Mm,
high level that you just explained that I put into practice. And if a person just was curious and asked me, hey, what does the V mean? I'll
yeah,
be more than glad to let them know the complexity behind the
yeah.
V. What it's
Mhm,
doing is simplifying complexities, the
mhm,
simplification of complexities. Some people, I know I keep
mhm.
repeating that, but it's definitely a
No, it's
craft and
important.
something
It's
people
important.
overlook a lot. because they'll look at me and or either look at what I'm doing and probably simplify it and be like, oh, it's just this easy. But for me to actually sit here or even put these questions
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
there's much love, time, and
Mhm.
dedication that goes into it. I'm taking what you're saying and making complex questions to bring out the best in you as my fellow
Mm.
human, right? So,
Appreciate that. Yeah. I
indeed.
think that's the that's the beauty of when you look at divine mercy and you look at how merciful God truly is. It's like, you have your soul is housed in this flesh, this vessel, right?
Mhm.
And you have to recognize in this time that you're here to connect with the divine because we were separated from the original source so that we can search for the hidden treasure that loves to be known. Literally, God is everywhere and wants to be known, but the reason why we had to be separated is because we didn't appreciate what we had. And so why do we need to look at each human to find that? Is because God has put something unique in each person. And the more you do what you do, which is amazing, the more that you continue to find yourself in this. You just see reflections and pieces of yourself, and that's the reality. Each human makes up one, we're one whole. And that's the reality. And the moment we understand that, we pour love into this understanding that, okay, God loves that person. No matter what they're doing, where they from, what's their lifestyle like, it doesn't matter. God loves that person. So you have to learn how to love that person by first loving yourself. You can't love yourself until you understand, okay, let me treat this vessel with love, right? Because we're humans. We go by what's apparent, okay? But like, let me treat this vessel with love. By that way, we're doing that. We're going to the gym, we're eating well, we're doing all these things. But then we forget about the soul. We forget. We forget about, oh, well, you need love too. What do I need to do to pour into you? And what are you? So there is a lot of layers of what you said, but there's also a lot of importance to understanding the simplicity, right? Because it is complex. No matter how much we want to understand everything, we won't until a veil is removed when we like this life is just a stop along the way. And so when our souls are left leaving our flesh, we actually are going into another realm. So when people are like, oh, this person, they're sad about the person leaving the earth, but their soul is going to a whole nother realm of things that they never seen before, that we can't even see, but are here right now in front of me, in front of you. But we can't even see it because we're veiled from that you know so yeah, I love the ghost project, I love the human vessel, I love that connection because there's so much that we don't realize is happening in our midst, but we're veiled to that because not everyone can handle that, not everyone can handle seeing the other realms in front of us. Yeah.
I want to say, hmm, I'm not going to toot my own horn, so I'll make it quick.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know how deep it goes for me, like exactly
Hmm.
what I know, what I do and don't know. And I don't
Yeah.
really dive into that.
Hmm.
I'm not here for that. Again, I'm here
Yeah.
for your story.
Hmm.
But what I will say is the part that you struck me, almost brought me to tears, but the part that struck me was
Hmm.
talking about how people go and then they're going back to where they, come from, right?
Hmm.
On a spiritual level, on the part of the unseen, right?
Yeah.
And I find that to be interesting because I'm of no
Hmm.
religious denomination at
Right.
all. I'm
Hmm.
what's called a rogue spiritualist, right? I gave myself
Hmm.
that title. I know what's going on. I see what's going on to a degree.
Hmm.
I don't say what's wrong, what's not. That's
Right.
completely up to the other person. If I was
Hmm.
doing that, I wouldn't be here right now because it
Uh-huh.
takes a special type of person to run a program of this type, right?
Hmm.
You have to be willing to listen to everyone and meet them where they're at or try to, right?
Hmm.
But it touched my soul when you said that because I once told that to somebody. I said,
Hmm.
listen, I'm not from the same place that you're from. We're from different places. We may have crossed paths some way, somehow, but I'm telling you for sure, I know within my spirit that I'm
Hmm.
from somewhere different from a lot of people.
Hmm.
That's just me. Doesn't make me
Hmm.
any better or any worse than you.
Hmm.
That's just what I've come to understand. And I think
Hmm.
that's okay. That's a certain truth, right? That
Mhm,
people are not used to hearing. And so when they hear it, they're like, oh no, you sound insane. I'm like,
mhm,
nah, That's just my truth. It's
Mm,
okay, right?
mm,
So
mm.
that's what I wanted to say right there in that moment.
Thank
Is
you.
that
Thank you for no, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And it's a deep, it's a depthness within us that we experience. That some of these things are in our heart that come out, and it's just it's there, like you said, it's put there to say, and it's for a reason. And
yeah,
we also are the signs that have been sent to us. Yeah.
indeed, indeed, we are the signs that's been sent to us. That was I had to rethink about that one.
Yeah.
That was good. All right, so without further ado, I'll carry along.
Okay.
Um, I was wondering, in your opinion, what is the difference between destiny and fate?
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, to me, they're intertwined. They're woven together. Um, they're like a rope, and those are the two strands.
Hmm,
So I don't really see them as different. I see them as a rope, and two strands are twisted tightly together, or and they're made to help you along the way, like whether it is to pull you up or uh, whether it is used to connect you with others. I see them as the same rope, but two different strands. So
hmm.
with faith, you have to believe.
No, 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 my bad. Fate. Excuse me, sorry. Destiny and fate.
Oh, oh.
F-A-T-E, sorry.
Well, I still see okay, the faith and the destiny, they're the same. But faith, yeah, faith and destiny are literally the same thing. I don't see them as different. The reason why is because when your destiny is written for you, or like whatever is destined for you, right? It's not gonna miss you. It's never gonna miss you. What is not destined for you will. Like some things, and some people can say, "Oh, it was fate that didn't happen because maybe it wasn't meant for me, or maybe it would have put me down the wrong path." And fate can be the difference of meeting another soul, where it is intertwined with the human experience, and destiny can be an individual's experience with the divine. So, but
Mm,
either way, they're interwoven in a story of someone's life. Like they're written, those are the two, I think, main descriptors that are used to write someone's story that we can't even control. Because a lot of the times, we want things to go a certain way, but it don't. And we wonder why it don't. And we like, why you ain't go this way? Why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing what I want you to do? Because that wasn't your destiny, you know? And then when something is going the way that you want it to go, that is something that is aligned with your fate, And so they are both the same. It's just about the context in which it's experienced. But for me, I understand that you know, the pen has been lifted, the ink is dried. Your story is already pre-written for you. You just have to dissolve into it. You have to be willing to let go of whatever perception you made for you, whatever life you thought you wanted to have. And you have to let go. Things is like, oh no, this is getting difficult. This is feeling like it's going against, because when your heart feels like it's shattering and you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe, you going against your destiny. You can feel it in your heart as a compass. You're going against what is written for you, your fate, like what was already pre-written, right? I feel like fate is just something that's pre-written, which destiny is like the journey along the way, So it's like having that wisdom to know this is killing me right now. Like I need to stop doing this because it's just gonna keep hurting me, or else I'm just not gonna get to my fate, to what has been destined for me. So that's how I see it, and just really dissolving in that story that's for you, because the one that we got for ourselves, sometimes we want something so bad and it's probably not even good for us. Probably not even good for us. We be like, oh yeah, I want this, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna chase it, da, da, da. And you're like, oh, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. And then you just gotta make pivots. You go, okay, what is it? What's the thing? And sometimes human beings be stubborn. It take us 10 years to figure out this is not working. Stop it. Like do something else.
Yes.
So yeah, I do think they are the formulas for a written divine story that only the best author could have wrote, to be honest.
So I think to follow up with you, I'm gonna make mine brief. I think fate has a negative connotation to it,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Like, that was his fate. Every time I hear fate, it's like pretty
Wow.
heavy. When I hear destiny, it's a little lighter, to be honest with you. It's just, I don't know, it's like happier when people say it. Like, that was my destiny. And I'm like, word. But when I hear fate, that's always a weighted word, like for me at least. When I hear it, I'm like, wow,
Hmm.
yeah, that was his fate. He met his fate. I know people have heard that before.
Oh
And
yeah,
so I'm just like, oh. So I
I
think
love
for me,
that.
that's the difference between destiny and fate, is that destiny, I hear it more used in the connotation of like, oh, this is beautiful. Like, this is great. You're about to get your destiny. And then fate is like, it's almost
Yeah,
like something terrible is going on. Like, yeah, he met his fate and it was it was pretty extreme.
yeah.
And I'm like,
It'd be
okay.
like that because I think you need both to experience for your journey to be unique. You need that adversity, which is
Hmm.
fate. You need
Hmm.
that destiny, which is, the beautiful part of your story. So, there's this story that I love that a lot of people explain. It's like a story about a man, and he was killing, like he killed 99 people, right? He killed 99 people. He met this man, and he said, "Oh, I believe he said, oh, all the things that you're doing, God will never forgive you." And he killed him, right? And so God said, "Okay, we're gonna go on this journey, and if you're closest to the part of the world where you were doing the bad things, I'm gonna have the angels, like take you, and you're gonna be in hell or whatever. And then, if you're closest to the part where you're doing the good things, if you walk on that, he's like walking on the journey, like, but then you're gonna, I'm gonna forgive you or whatever the case is." And I could be paraphrasing. So he died on the way to the place, but he died on the side where he did the bad things. So do you know what God did? God shifted the earth so that he was on the side where he was closer to the good side, where he was going to be doing the good things. And I'm saying this because I don't know what he went throughout that journey. He could have been dying of thirst. He could have been like crying. He could have did all these things. But all the stuff that he did, that person who said, "Oh, God's not going to forgive you," he just went, "Shh," he just killed him. Like he was like, no. So in that way, fate can be something, and it was his fate to die that way. But it was the story that was a reminder of the mercy, divine mercy. Because who forgives like that? Like you just
Hmm.
killed 99 people. Like, human beings don't forgive that way. People don't look at people and say, not everyone does, but people don't look at someone and say, "Oh my God, you committed you're a serial killer." No one's going to forgive you. Like we don't look at people like, maybe he was going through something, right? Like, maybe like we don't know what God could do with him. No, why? Because we just want to look at people and say, "No, that was his fate because he was a disgusting person." But it's like,
Hmm.
no, I look at like these people that's doing all these crazy things out in the world. I'm like someone didn't tell you they loved you. That's really what's happening. To me, you don't love yourself, and someone, because you being a humanist right now, or like, a xenophobe. Like you don't like
Hmm.
human beings. So, you might be someone who just needs to,
Interesting. I didn't know that's what that meant. Go ahead.
oh yeah, like someone who's like human phobic, basically, doesn't like
A
human, like,
xenophobe.
yeah, xenophobia, yeah. So for me, I see things in that context because if God can look at someone like that, and for me to connect and to ask God to raise, me up to be better in my character, why can't I strive to look at human beings in a way where, like, yeah, they might have failed deeply, but they're humans as well,
Hmm.
and it's very important to understand that their fate was our destiny and the other way around. Because if they suffered from something, maybe it was a lesson for us, or maybe our fate, the struggle path that we are on, or whatever struggle that we went on, we had to experience that adversity. Like someone was like, "Oh, that that happens. That was just your fate. Like to go through all of that. That's crazy. Like and now you're on the path of your destiny." So I've heard it in that way before, but I don't see them as separate because this world wants us to separate everything. They are one. And until we start seeing things in union, we won't get to where we need to go to on our own individual paths because we have to change ourselves before we look at trying to change the world, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, that's just let me stop rebuttaling what you're saying, but I just wanted to say
No,
that
no, you're
because
good.
I
You're
love what
good.
you said about that because it reminded me like, yeah, people do see fate as a bad thing, which is like, yeah, life is not meant to be. This life is not meant to be all peaches and this is not paradise. You can go to a place with beaches and palm trees and all of that. Be like, oh, I'm in paradise. But this is not where we belong. We're from a different place. So this is not home. We were put here to learn like who we are and to crave to be with the divine. That's the reality. So
Mm,
yeah.
mm, mm. I really love the way you just said that. I wanted to ask you a different question. I think you'll have an interesting answer for this. Have you ever heard of the equation for creativity?
For creativity.
The equation
For
for creativity. No, 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 not the number four.
oh,
The
okay.
equation for creativity, like for FOR.
No.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. Do you have an equation for creativity? I'll tell you in just a second. I made it up myself, so I kind of have a different approach to things. But do you have an equation for it? Because you're creative
like
yourself.
like what is the equate now? I'm thinking about this in so many different ways because
That's great. That's what it was meant to do. That's what it was meant to
listen, I
do.
love me a chemical compound now, and I love the algebraic equations. So now I'm going into a nerd mode now. You got to make sure we okay. So when you say equation, do you mean like a formula?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I could just tell you it real quick, and
Okay,
then
guys.
you could come up with your own from that if you would like.
Okay, sure, yeah,
Okay, so the equation for creativity is imagination plus influence equals creativity, or imagination times influence equals creativity,
yeah.
right? And I came up with that from a lot of just observing, studying, knowing certain things that I do
Mm-hmm.
understand, or I've come to understand over the years. But the thing that people oftentimes overlook is the influence. And so if we look at things within the world, right,
Mm-hmm.
and we doubt these things, we're like, that can't be true and that can't be true. But they show you that these things are true in what's
Right.
called superliminals, movies, truth disguised as fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And what we forget is, yes, that's such a great imagination that we're seeing on screen. But where did the influence come from for
Yeah.
that? So that's how I came up with the equation. I was breaking down a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so imagination times influence equals creativity. Got it. So that's just my perspective. I'm not saying this is law, and this is why nobody
No,
has
no,
heard of it before, because I haven't
I
put it out in the public too much. So
mm-hmm. Mm. I like that. Yeah, now I'm thinking about mine. I know one of it is dissolve for sure.
yes,
But I
yes,
don't know if
I have a
dissolve
few
would
different.
come after. So I would say silence times dissolve equals creativity. Yeah.
Spending times with
Or plus
oneself, and then
plus silence plus dissolve equals. Yeah. Or times would be nice because you can multiply. You have to keep doing it. This is not something you could just do once, actually.
it's
You gotta
interchangeable.
yeah, you gotta keep doing it. So yeah, I
Definitely
would say like
interchangeable.
silence, like seclusion more so. Let me say seclusion plus dissolving because seclusion can mean you're just cutting off the phone. You just, quiet your space that, everything, your mind, everything, seclusion is more so like when people go on sabbatical, like they just, because that is when you're able to tap into, I feel like that's my formula to what's been hidden inside your heart. Like since you were a kid. Like it comes up, it regurgitates itself, it comes back up. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Seclusion plus dissolving. But we're going to get into dissolving. I have a question for that. That's right
Okay.
around the corner.
Okay.
Um, but first, you did explain your journey for poetry, and
Hmm.
I did love that. But would you like to reiterate that maybe again? Because I have a question here saying, when did your journey as a poet begin, and what does it mean to be a poet of the unseen? What does that look
Mm.
like?
So my poetry journey began when I was about like 9 years old. My mom had me in programs like jazz programs and jazz for poetry, jazz for teens and poetry. So like there were different programs in my town. Um, I listened to Maya Angelou, like they would play like these tapes that she was on. I don't know if someone recorded her or like where the tape came from, but it definitely didn't come from YouTube because it wasn't around when I was it was no YouTube. So I don't know, they would play and they would put videos in the VHS in the classroom, and then the connection between jazz and poetry, they would teach us about that. So I was just blown away, and I always felt like jazz was a way to really connect to what the heart needed to feel in that moment. Jazz is just so soothing to the soul. Um, and so when I realized that I wanted to get back into poetry, it was like after I realized, listen, I will always be an MC, one of the best to ever do it, ever. Listen. Um, and I started reaching peaks, there was talks of me working, and getting signed to a sub label on Def Jam and all these things. But I saw how ghetto it was. I ain't even gonna hold you. Oh, this ain't for me. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm from the hood, but I'm not trying to
So,
like make money in the hood, like in
so
the
I want
hood.
I want to speak about that because I think this is a real moment for the industry stories. Like, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
just be real. I used to work for Diddy. Wow,
Okay.
everybody's gonna, that's the wow
Oh
moment for
man,
everyone.
because all this
Wow.
stuff is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to work for Diddy. I was part of the street team. I used to give
Hmm.
out flyers, things of that nature, and I
Hmm.
just not saw crazy things, but felt the energy of narcissism, the energy of egotistical, what I would consider to be maniacs. And then there was just a darkness that I couldn't put my finger on. It was pretty
Yeah.
elusive, but I
Mm.
saw it because I also worked with Dipset. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that I worked with Cameron, not Cameron himself, but I worked with a subdivision of Dipset in Harlem.
Okay.
And so I saw the back end of what was going on. I never
Hmm.
forget this story. I saw a guy come to the studio, play 10 beats. And
Hmm.
after he played the 10 beats, he walked out of the studio. He left the beats behind. They said, man, we just go rip him off for the beats. Throw him 10,000, tell him get on out of here and just keep the beats. And I was like, wow, wow, wow. Even if he just didn't leave the room, the fact that he just left the room, like no longer than like 3 minutes ago. And y'all guys are just tearing him
Plotting.
up, just on it. And I left. And I'll never forget that's when the Maybach first came out, the car.
Hmm.
And the guy who was the head of the studio had a Maybach, and he rolled down on me one day. He was like, "Hey, you coming back to the studio?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." And that was my disassociation. That's when I started to slowly but surely like disassociate from that energy. But I loved music, so I kept creating it, and I started making scores, which is music for film, for
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
who don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to say that. And so when I hear you getting ready to tell your story, or you telling your story right now,
No.
I could definitely relate. It's pretty sad because I love music, but it's definitely tainted, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it's up to those who really love it not to let it be. So sometimes you just gotta walk away from spaces that don't feed your energy. And you can just tell because, like I said, that heart starts tightening up and you be like, this don't feel right because my heart is hurting. My chest is like tight. Why is that? Is because that's literally the divine squeezing you like that. Like this ain't it. Okay? Like your mom would like like or like a guardian would like, twist or like you see the parents they be like doing little twist little things underneath the kids like get over here like you know
Yes, I see it now.
that's
Yes.
literally I do feel the divine's way of loving me and saying, this is not it. That's why your chest hurt right now. So you need to get out. And then when I feel that expansion, that peace, that floating in nature, or I'm like, this is what I want to feel. Now it's not gonna be all the time, but this is what my consistency needs to feel like. If it ain't that, I'm out. Like I don't need this. Because at the end of the day, this is not my journey. It doesn't feel like it's mine. It's not my fate or destiny, as as we spoke about. So
So I want to say something that is in relation to that, but different.
mm,
When I hear you talk about the squeeze of the heart, what it reminds me of is how people classify anxiety, right? And somebody one day was like, "You have social anxiety." I was like, "Nah, I don't have social anxiety. I just don't really like ignorance." Whatever the case may be, I just come to understand that anxiety is like a radar system. And I'm gonna tell you why, right? I'm gonna make it all make sense. Anxiety is a radar system because when I come up to you, when I'm talking to you right now, human interaction, the energy of it works off three things that I've
mm,
come to understand. And this is also my own definition. I was supposed to write a book on defining certain things, but
mm,
regardless, we work off push, pull, and still.
mm,
Right now, we're still. We're just having a
mm,
conversation. Push is someone pushing something onto you. Pulling is somebody trying to pull something from you, right?
mm,
Anxiety registers that. So anxiety comes up when somebody's either pushing or pulling. And usually I know those situations are not for me. Hence dating. If I'm trying to date, talk to a young lady and I feel like it's too much, or hey, okay, I got to do too
mm,
much, jumping through too many hoops here, I'm not about to just, I just let it go. It's like I just detach. And people be like, wow, Troy, you kind of let go fast. I'm like, because what's meant for me will flow. The flow is connected to your creative energy, but also your sexual energy simultaneously. So you have to
mm,
balance that out regardless.
mm,
But yes, I
mm.
just wanted to say that. Uh,
No, it's a good point. It's very and I think, just that alignment. It's important to know what's happening in your body and like expressing it and like because that book Body Keeps the Score really changed the way I understand, people and just myself first, but people. And so how someone will react to something and I would be like, okay, that was a childhood trauma that just popped out of nowhere, and so I just be like, okay, I could be at a supermarket, okay, and it just happens, and I'd be like, okay, can you just like, pay for this? I mean, can you finish ringing me up so I can leave? So yeah, it's very important to spend that time with yourself, to know yourself, and when you get to know yourself, you know the divine. That's the reality. Like you can't do um them simultaneously until you lock in with yourself, and then they happen simultaneously. But the locking in with the self is not you. You're not locking in with you, you're locking in with the one who made you, because you're understanding the nuances of like who you are. So yeah, I really vibe with that because yeah, I'm just not a person who locks in with everybody, or like, and I can just feel certain energies, or like I can already tell what someone's on before they even open their mouth because of the way that they may present. And it's not about me judging how they look at all. It's body gestures,
energy.
confidence. Oftentimes people look at my hands when I talk because when I'm confident, I speak with my hands. But if I'm not, I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't want to talk about that right now. Or I'm just like, I'm a little nervous to talk about that, or I don't want to really, So there's a difference in also just understanding how to lock in with your time. That is the most valuable thing that you can ever own or have, because you can always make money in an hour. People can make money that they lost in a week. But time that you spend focusing on what is not for you,
Hmm.
or really locking in with that, can really get you discombobulated on your own like confidence and make you feel like you don't know what you want to do anymore, because now things are not aligning. And so in the industry, people were not aligned with their souls. And I was like, shout out to one of my brothers, like, he's a really dope brother. He's trying to do things for the Black community. He works with Rock Nation and everything. He's working with Rock Nation. He's doing his own thing. And he often says, like, yo, B, how do you do it? Like you still a part of it. And I was like, no, never said I was part of the industry. Never said I was still. So, how he sees it is like, yo, you still know the same people. Yeah, those my peoples, because the energy that I bring to a space is something that, like, we're all trying to figure out, okay, how do we cultivate this type of event for you? Or like, oh, I just want to be around you because that energy is dope. But I don't be around nobody. And people be like, why you ain't at the events? You're not coming in New York. You're not coming in the city. You're not coming to events. I don't need to do that. So people could suck my energy dry and I don't have no energy to do nothing else that I need to do. Because the reality is when people don't know that their souls are literally absorbing all the things that they're receiving, whether it's the music, whether it's the people's vibrations, the auras, whatever, they're now reenacting that or bringing that out in a different way. Like all that gatekeeping stuff within the industry experiences that I had, I was like, your whole goal was to get here so you can help your people, but now you want to gatekeep because you're angry and you experience trauma because the people that you know were meant to help you didn't. They made it hard for you, or they made you feel inferior. That's not my problem because that's not why I came here. I didn't come here for that type of energy, so I'm out because you also need to go to therapy. Yeah. So I had to tell a lot of people, unfortunately, I was like, yeah, no, you gotta go to therapy. I can't work with you. Oh, you're backing out. You can't give up. Like this industry ain't for quitters. I was like, well, I ain't for the industry. So that's fine.
I wanted to address that. How
Yeah.
people throw around the word quitting. Like I was
Hmm.
talking to somebody and I was like, "Hey, I had to pull back from my job because I herniated disc." They was like, "Well, I'm not a quitter," and I was like, "Well, you have to know when it's time to like reassess what's going on and be like, hey, I gotta go.' You know what I'm saying? Like, not everything is for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta know when it's time to change." So,
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. I think people try to weaponize the word from time to time, and I don't like
They
the way
do.
that it's weaponized.
Yeah.
And used kind of against people. When I get it, like if you're quitting on your dreams, of course, I tell you, please don't do that. Give it your all. And if your all wasn't enough, then okay, But if we're just talking about something that's no longer serving you, come on, man. Yeah,
Gotta
you gotta
go.
know when to go. Yeah.
Hmm.
So finally, here we are.
Hmm.
Please tell us about your book, The Dissolving Cloud. What veil was lifted when you wrote this book? Was the lifting transformational for you? And in what way?
Mm. What I'm learning, like what I'm learning is there was no veil to begin with, that I am the veil. I'm learning that there's so many things that block us from learning who we are. I love this quote by Rumi that says, your job is not to seek where love is, but to learn all the things that block you from it, all the things that are in you that block you from love. So, really, I'm a veil that I'm still learning how to, understand those removals of those. Like, oh, who am I to deserve to be in this space with these people? Like, these people are scholars. Like, what? A veil, you know? Or how did I go from this like MC Muslima like on the stage cutting up to like this? Like, is this like really me? Like, am I like a veil? It's literally like your ego is your veil, literally, because you're not willing to dissolve into what your heart feels inclined to. Your heart is your compass. Like, if you don't feel that this is serving you, you just shift. You just like, and it points in the direction until it's straight. And you just have to keep doing that. And the dissolving cloud is the beginning of that journey, of that legacy of doing that. And so, what I realized when writing the book was that I was just crying all the time. Like, I was just crying, and I hand wrote the book before I put it into paper, because I wanted to do what our, Toni Morrison does and the greats Maya Angelou. So I wanted to feel, yeah, my ego struggling. So in the book, there is no I or me in the poetry that I write. That took me a long time to do. Every time I wanted to write I, and I'm like, wait, there is no I, there is no me, there is only you. So having to take the time to do that was a process in and of itself to dissolve in the writing aspect. Not saying I've fully dissolved, no, because to fully dissolve is to see that you are me and I am you, right? To see yourself in people, to see who you know, not saying, oh, I wouldn't do that. No, but like, why did you do that? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Oh, okay, I can see why. That makes sense, you know, for your spirit. This is a way to dissolve into people and love them regardless of how they're showing up, just because it doesn't make sense to you, but it's not about you, it's about us, right? It's about the collective, it's about humanity. So when I was writing the poetry, it was a struggle because I needed to really experience what it was like not writing in me or I. And then, you know, I write in my journal every day. So whenever I would have my, I would get all like, I feel this way. I'm going through this. I'm doing this. So when I would come to write the book, the times of the day that I had a line for that, it was a journey of like just, you know, complete realization of how separate I was from the divine. Like I was like, yo, all these me's, all these I's, like this is so divisive. Like, and so I started to realize that the clouds, you know, are one in the sky of love. Like literally, they pour down rain on a desolate land and they revive it with the water. And I had the story in my mind of how I would become a cloud, like, you know, but the reality is when I went to Yemen, I went there to study and I was walking around in like black. I was wearing all black, niqab, everything, because it was a law in that particular village, in that place. And I was like, I've never worn niqab. I'm looking forward to it because what it would be like to be completely veiled and to not focus on my looks, my how I look, you know, beauty, anything, but just to be completely unseen and to not focus on that.
mm,
It was definitely a reminder of how much I do because I was putting lip gloss on when I'm wearing the cob and there was glitter all over the thing. It made no sense. But at the same time, we went to this one trip and we went to go to this particular graveyard, and this man, he saw me and the sister. She was there. She was speaking to him in Arabic, and I was there with her, and I didn't know nothing of Arabic at that time. And he looked at me and I can see him, but he can't see me. Like, you know, because I have on, like, I'm complete, like, literally, like, nothing, like,
I
barely,
know
like, maybe my eyes
silhouette.
were, like, this much showing. And he goes, you recite this surah and recite this, verse in the Quran, this ayah in the Quran, which ayah in Arabic means sign, right? And these are, like, divine signs given from Allah. So, like, literally, recite this, you know, particular ayat 9 times a day after you pray. And it had everything to do with clouds. Now mind you, I did not know anything about what the book title was going to be. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, okay, yeah. And then the girl was like, do you know how amazing this is? Like, he can't even see you. He's giving you, like, these people here are so blessed. Like, they're so tuned in with the divine. Like, do you, I was like, okay, yeah, like so many things was happening there that I can't even tell. Even my name, Basira, my original, like, my name is Basha. But like this woman, she looked at me and she told me what my name was. I literally said, she said in Arabic, Mesmuki, which means what's your name? And I said, oh, it's me, like I am, Basha. And she said, La, Basira. And she put her hand on my heart and the tears, okay? And her family lineage comes from a family lineage of a man who wrote a book called The Quest for the Red Sulfur, which is a deep spiritual book. Like a lot of people in a lot of these anime films, like I feel like they from that. Like the Quest films and stuff. I'm like, no, this is definitely deeply spiritually like rooted from this because whoever, if you read that book, you'd be like, whoa, this is like, it talks about the kingdom of the heart and all these things and the depthness of it. Yeah, it's so deep. And so when she did that, I was like I just started crying. Like that place, it just blew me off the I'm like whatever was there, the shell of me was gone, and I was there, and I was just like, I feel exposed, you know? And so when I went back, I just started crying and I didn't understand what's happening. Came back home for 2 years. I was like, no, my name is Basha. I'm an MC, you know. My name means chief and it's my brand. I gotta keep it, and that's just what it is. We ain't changing nothing. When I tell you everything in me was feeling so tight, like everything in me was feeling blocked from my destiny, that I was like, let me see what happens when I change my name to what that sister was telling me in the village in Yemen to Basira. And also my mukaddama, she's actually from the UK. She's a spiritual guide. She actually recommended before I even went on the trip. She was like, you should change your name to like Basira or Bushra. You know, Basira means eye of the heart, seeing from the eye of the heart. And so the moment I changed my name, the way I started to understand, alhamdulillah, like, you know, by the grace of God, I started to see things, and my path was so clear. It was so clear. I remember the dream I had when I was in Egypt about the cloud that was breaking, like it was in the sky and this glass was breaking. It was like all I hear was like cracking glass. And that's the cover of my book. It's literally me looking out at this window that's like moving, and all these I just hear like, you know, and it's like these things are turning, and I just see this so clear. Like, and so the poetry that I had been writing since 2020 made sense. It all started to make sense from the verse he told me about the clouds, how, you know, God sends rain down on a desolate land to revive it. Like, I was
Mm,
like, this is my destiny. I'm meant to, you know, be somebody who waters not people but myself, like, so that I can be someone who show, like, I'm an example of that. Like, this is what happens when you water yourself. This is what happens when you let God water you. This is what happens when you let the divine water you, you know? So I say that to say that the book is literally, every time I read it back, I'm like, even certain parts, I'm like, how did you write this? Like, and I do realize there are certain things that you have to be in a state to do, like spiritually, shut down everything. And that's when I was in seclusion mode and dissolving mode. And that's how the book came, like, and everything came together and it made sense. So, yeah.
mm. Yeah, that state that you're talking about, I spoke about it a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of creatives, like myself, refer to it as the flow state.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you're really just focused and you're flowing. I've created some amazing stuff in that state.
Mm-hmm.
For there's a lot that I've done, but again, this is about you. So continuing, I wanted to say, how has your faith impacted your life? You have already discussed that just recently,
Mm-hmm.
but do you have a more like way that is close to
Mm-hmm.
your heart of describing it, more isolated outside of the story in which you just shared and the journey you just shared with us?
It's just made me see things from a loving perspective. It's impacted me because I don't look at people and individuals from a place of hardness. I don't look at people from a place of, I genuinely feel for humanity. Like, it's genuine. Because right after I took my shahada, like I went into a sister's house. There was this man. He was sitting outside of the train station and he asked me for money. And I said, why always the brothers gotta ask the sisters for money? You see me? I'm like, listen, ask the guy. Why are you asking me? I don't have it. Like, I had nothing at that time. I was broke. And I literally was like, I was just frustrated. I was like, why are you asking me for money? And I came back after I took my shahada. I literally literally, I took my shahada. I stayed for a day at the sister's house. You know, they all were like giving me gifts, and then like, oh, welcome to Islam, you know, and all that. And I saw that same man when I was going back to Brooklyn. I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and I saw that same man, and I started crying. I literally was like, oh my gosh, you don't have anything, like, and I literally was like looking in my pockets. I had like a nickel. I gave him a nickel, and I was like, that's all I have. I'm so sorry. I had no cash, and I was like, that's all I had on me. And he was just like, God bless you, like, you know. And I was just like, but I only gave you a nickel. Like, how is it that you are saying God? He's like, God bless you. And I felt it. I felt like he was like, you gave, like, and I felt like that was from the divine, like saying, this is not yours, that you do not be greedy. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't have nothing, you know? So, yeah, that was an impactful moment for me because I realized, dang, I was mad hard when I got off that train to go make my shahada. I was like, this brother is asking me for money. Dang, I'm a sister. Why you asking me for money? Like, ask the brothers. And then I'm like, dang, I'm a woman. Like, why you make me feel like that? Like, you come, like, and I'm like, dang, I feel bombarded. I feel like like I don't know. But then I came back a whole different, it was like a 180. Because I saw him like, oh my gosh, humanity is suffering. Why are people on the street? Why don't they have a place to live? What was happening? Where's all this money going? I started thinking in different ways. And it was like, it wasn't like an overnight thing. I stayed over house overnight, but I realized after accepting that and realizing that Islam literally means submitting to peace, right?
Mm,
Like your soul is, I submit to peace. I submit to what's the most peaceful way, the peace, right? One of the attributes of the creator is as-salam, like the peace. And so in that moment, I realized like this person's peace is so disturbed. Like he can't even get a meal. Like he can't even, and I just felt for him, and I felt so sad. Like I remember that. I remember the difference of when I came in and I came out. I was like, well, I am him and he is me. Like if he's suffering, I'm suffering. This hurts me. And I still feel that way. Like it hasn't changed. It's only gotten like I just be sitting there like I'm panicking, like this person needs, like I can't even, I don't even have like cash on me, so I'll like go to the bank and I'm like, wait, hold on, do you need food, or like what do you they're like, what do you want? And what hurts me the most is when I give money to someone and they're like, I don't want that. What am I supposed to do with $2? And I'm like, okay, do you want this for drugs or no? Like, what do you want it for? Do you want it for food? Are you hungry? Because then I gotta start talking to them. And I talk to them like they my brother or sister, like for real. I'll be like, so what you want the money for then? If you don't need it, and they be like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, no, you gonna talk to me because you want the money now. You gotta talk to me now. You gotta talk to me now. I need to know that you're gonna spend this on getting food now. And they're like, I'm gonna get food, and I'm like, no, let's go get the food now. Let's go get the food. So I changed in that way where I communicated with people that I felt, were attacking me and like making me feel like you gotta give me money, like. But really, that's why I'm here. That's my duty. I'm here to be a service. If they don't have and I have it, we gotta figure this out. And I'm not giving it to someone to like, I'm not giving somebody money to like feed their habit. So I'm like, let's go right now. We going to the store to get you some food. I don't want to go. I'm like, you look hungry. Let's go. So we go to the store. They be like, I don't know why you don't just give me the money. And it's like, and I give them the food, and they just, I'm like, yeah, you was hungry. You just thinking about the drugs, and that's literally clouding your judgment of what you need. You actually need sustenance. So go ahead and eat that food. And I don't know who's gonna give you the other money for what else you're trying to get, but I ain't giving it to you because. And sometimes I do give money, like just with the intention of like helping them, but what they do with it, that's their business. It doesn't fall on me because I'm giving it with the intention of helping them. So, but yeah, I
mm.
hope that makes sense of like how my faith changed
No,
me
it makes
completely.
perfect sense. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you, it really does. I've helped a lot of people in my life, so I understand what it's like to help people, and then I could say that I've done a good job of not judging people too hard,
yeah,
but my battle is not pouring from an empty cup anymore. Because I've done that. I've helped people at the expense of I truly don't have anything and I can't even afford to truly help you, but I still did.
yeah.
But then, and yes, I am very grateful the divine
Mm,
has definitely looked out for me. But now the mission that I'm on, I need a
mm.
certain amount of energy to accomplish.
Yeah,
And
it
so
changes.
I need to make sure I have a full cup, or not a full cup, at least I have a full cup before I start pouring again, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
that's
I think
real.
a lot of people are in that situation. I know my close circle is. Um,
Mm.
but what I will say is, I want to ask you a question on this. What is the young black Muslima?
Okay, so that's my podcast.
Go ahead.
And also is like a mission.
Hmm.
It's a mission to remind Black young girls that, especially if they're in a space of where they're covering, that they are their vibes, they're the culture. Like here, the culture is hip hop, right? And so a lot of people come from that space of, you know, not feeling like they are accepted. But young Black Muslima, she's all about hip hop, she's all about Islam, she's all about sisterhood. And that's my
Mm.
life journey. Young Black Muslima is my life journey as a young Black Muslim woman, somebody who, came from hip hop, you know. I always say, hip hop raised me, Allah saved me. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I'm gonna always have elements of that in my character and like how I live life. Like each one teach one. You know what I mean? Like, you know, at the police. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. So we always gonna have those vibes. Like so it's not going nowhere, but it's more so just a,
Fight the
a self
power.
help guide, huh?
I said, fight the power. I get you.
Yeah, fight the power always. And so the the self-help guide is what it's meant to be, but it's also being turned into a series, a script series, so people could see like where I was at in the ciphers in the city. Like I was rapping, I was harder than the guys, and they wasn't wanting me to be in the ciphers. I was fighting with my words. That's what a young Black Muslima is someone who fights with their
Mm.
words, because that's no other way. If I show up like this, you got to listen to me speak, because I'm not showing you my body. So you can't take a look me up and down and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna listen to you. Nah, I gotta be vocal in what I'm saying, gotta land. So I was always somebody in the spaces and hip hop spaces that the way I showed up was always with that intention to like listen to what's happening, listen to what Black women are going through. And that's for all Black women as well, like not just Black Muslim women. It's very important to understand that connection to being in that journey when you're young. All the world's coming at you at once. You like, oh no, like I'm gonna take off this hijab because no, I don't think it's beautiful, I don't feel pretty. And you're Black, you like, oh, my skin color, they're telling me to bleach, all of this. And then if you're Muslim, they like, oh, well, you need to like be Christian, or you need to like, everybody is allowed to be who they are. That's all.
That's the way I be feeling too. And I just wanted to say something to you. Yeah, because like I said, I'm a rogue spiritualist, so I stand
Yeah.
outside of the religious aspect of everything, and I have my own
Hmm.
set of beliefs that I came
Yeah.
across over a span of time.
Hmm.
I do not knock anybody's foundation. One thing that I'm not against Christians, so I'm just going to go ahead and
Yeah,
lay out
my
a
mom is Christian.
disclaimer
I'm not against Christians either.
before I say what I say, because it's going to
Yeah.
sound a little risque. But
Okay,
the
okay.
thing is, I just feel like sometimes I've not sometimes I've seen Christians do this a lot. They're like, "Oh, you see them people over there? They're of a different faith, or like like Muslims, especially Christian to Muslims." I've seen them be like, "Oh, they're all gonna go to hell." I was like, that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. You're knocking a person's foundation. And that's a very dangerous thing to do, to knock a person's
Yeah.
foundation, because that's what
True.
keeps people grounded. So it doesn't matter what faith or what belief you have, as long as you're keeping grounded and you're staying true to the way that it affects you in a positive way, I think that's what matters the most. Another thing was a side note besides that. So I've seen a lot of Muslim women. Okay, I'm from Brooklyn. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens.
Okay,
Just to
Brooklyn.
throw that out there. But some of the most beautiful women I've seen personally, it doesn't take for me to have to see the whole shape for me to see the beauty as well,
Hmm.
right? I guess
Hmm.
it all depends on our sight for beauty and what beauty, how we decide to perceive beauty. Obviously, physical beauty is something that I will not sit here and deny
Hmm.
100%. As a guy,
Hmm.
yes, I am attracted to, but then what's behind that is worth it
Hmm.
as well, right? It's worthy as well. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's more worthy because I'll tell you right now, I run across a
Hmm.
plethora of women, because I'm in business. I have to talk to tons of different women of different backgrounds, and I
Yeah.
meet a lot of different beautiful women. And then I
Hmm.
go out and I meet a lot of women there, and sometimes their beauty doesn't match the
Hmm.
character that I would like it to. And so my soul, my spirit
Hmm.
disconnects entirely. My spirit is in control when it comes to that region. That's why I don't date easily and I don't sleep around. It's something it
Hmm.
took me a while to accept.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we still get into a weird tangle there. But
Not an entanglement. Well, I think the
not
reality
a
of what you
tangle.
said is you just see yourself. I think that a lot of the times when people see any person that is not doing what is normal, because that is like, I mean, yes, so often you see a Muslim woman, you see her pop up, okay, she got a hijab on, but she's not doing what is normal, especially a hijabi woman, women who cover their head. Like, they're not doing what is normal in society. And it's just because we're saying, no, and we're saying no again. No is what we are saying. Like, literally, like, no, you can't look at me. No, you can't touch me. No. You can't see my hair. No. It's like we're literally, it's a silent prayer with God. Because all the meanwhile we're saying no, God is saying yes. So the reality with that is that you see yourself because you are seeing the reflective of like how someone is having boundaries just by the way they dress. Like, I'm gonna say this, like, and I know many women who dress modestly, and I could tell that they have boundaries. They don't even have to wear a scarf. I could tell they have boundaries. So the way often we dress is boundaries. You know, I could tell by a brother who wearing tight, 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 tight jeans. I'm like, that brother don't have no boundaries. And that's just my opinion. It's like, some people could be like, and I love soul style, so I get into like that. I'm like, I could read you by your style too. Like, if you are okay with having things cling to you like that, then you're okay with having any and everybody cling to you like that. That's just the reality. um yeah, no, that's just the reality. I mean, people do like tailored is different from tight, tight, skinny jeans. Tailored is very different, and I love, my peoples. I come from a range of background, Caribbean, Jamaican. I love my peoples, but like the skinny jean thing that my people was doing, I was like, cut it now, please stop it, because it's really giving like, oh, anybody could have me, anybody could cling to this over here, and it's like, just leave the skinny jeans alone. It never should have been a thing for anyone. I think, yeah, but that's just my opinion. That's my soul style opinion. It's not it's not the law, like you said. And that's just what I could read off of it. Like, if somebody is like a skinny jeans person.
Oh
Sorry about
man, I've
that.
never heard that put that way. I swear to no, don't be sorry. It's you. I respect it. I ain't gonna say it, but
Yeah. Because I'd be like, dang, you know.
so let us actually dive into the hijab. Like, what is
Okay.
the history of the hijab? I did see a post that I think
Mm.
actually got into that on your Instagram.
Yeah, yeah,
I did take a glance at it. Obviously I was preparing for this interview. There was a lot that I did
yeah.
take a slight glance at. But
Yeah.
yes, how would you describe that? Let's yes.
The history of the hijab is very deep.
Hmm.
Um, you can even a lot of people look at Mother Mary as like one of the first people to wear a veil. But it
Interesting.
goes, before that. Even her mother, I think her mother name was Anna, I believe so. When we look at, Miriam, may God be pleased with her, and how she wore the veil, her sanctity was something that literally just really swept the whole world, because she was a virgin and people didn't understand, like, how did this happen? So when I look at the veil and like the history of it, it was always something God wanted for women to like cover themselves, because it really indicated a woman on her journey to like God, but also in protection. Because even when I think about hijab in general, not just for women, but for men, because hijab is also for men. Hijab means to cover, right? This is a khimar, which is in Arabic a scarf, right? So hijab means to cover. Men for centuries, even now, even within oh, I didn't see this person say walaikum salam, within this context and world we live in now, it is a protection for your soul, right? So
Hmm.
a lot of people have visualized that the soul goes out of the body, and when you look at the soul, you can see it go up. So we don't exactly know where it comes from. Does it come from here? Does it come from the top of our head? But you have this spot here, like, that's tender, and it's always been there since you were a baby. It's always going to be there. It's very tender, like, and so a lot of people in different spiritual practices, covering was to protect that tender spot there, because it's almost like things can enter through there, right? And some spiritualists believe, okay, that can be a place where you can get possessed, or like, your brain or your faculties. But the reality is hijab is to be covering of your just your modesty, like you're being modest, but also covering in your character, meaning you're not always out there in everybody's face, like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 all this. And yeah, and same with men as well. It's a modesty. It's like to your character is more beautified with hijab. And that's not like in the sense of like wearing an actual scarf, but more so like how you carry yourself. So there's multiple ways to look at it from different walks of life. I do like to understand how different spiritual scholars look at it, because one of the things that I knew, like learning about Rastafarianism, was that they would cover their heads to protect this, area here. And also that's why you see people like, wearing a kufi or a yarmulke if they're, uh Jews. This area
Mm.
here specifically is what is being protected, and a lot of the times that's to cover just certain energies from coming in, because we're around certain all the energies. And I do feel the difference of exhaustion before I would wear it in verses. And I wear it in different ways. I might wear a turban, or I might wear it the classic way like this, or West African style. So I do believe that hijab comes from a history beyond what I understand it to mean, that only the divine knows why it started. And it didn't just start with Maryam and her mother, because that was the visual image that people had out, like, oh, she wore a veil and this abaya thing with a hood and blue and white. But before that, there were plenty of women who covered, especially Christians. Christians and Muslims have a lot of similarities. Have a
Mm.
lot of similarities. They covered often. The women were very modest. They wore the over their head, but it also talks about it in the Injil, to cover, because I don't necessarily go by the Bible, because the
Mm-hmm.
Bible is something that has been tainted by King
Mm.
James.
Mm-mm.
But the Injil was originally in Aramaic, in a really ancient language that really talks about all the stories that we see translated, but without the added stuff from some colonizing mindset, just to control people with God, you know? I don't
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
it's very similar to what's in the Quran when it comes to like, oh, women, cover your chest area. Like when you go outside, cover your chest area, because it also is protecting your aura, which is different from aura. Aura is your shape, or like, your private parts and all of that. So it
Oh.
protects a woman from having that being seen, because that does make it difficult for her to like do what she needs to do daily, like, just go out, get food, go do this and go do that. And also it protects her from people like not listening to what she has to say. It makes it more easy for her, or it makes it a even playing field for her to be heard in
Mm.
some ways, because yeah, it's very difficult. I mean a lot of men will listen to them, but they will be like, girl, I ain't even heard what you said, because you have all that out and I'm just so confused right now, so. And it's not to knock women who show that, but like when more women now are starting to dress modest, because they realize like, oh, that wasn't working. And it just shows like, and there's different forms
Mm.
of modesty, and I will say that modesty looks different for everybody. I did this piece with Bustle, and they asked me about modesty, and they asked me how I see it. I was like, well, I wasn't raised Muslim, so how I see modesty is different than how maybe somebody who was raised Muslim, because somebody might wear like long pants and a button up, and that's
Mm.
modest. That might be hijab to them, but their character is very muted and chill. They're not like up in everyone's face, so that might be hijab for them. But when you reach a certain age, as a woman, when you reach a certain age in puberty, it's told that we need to cover, because then it's a protection for us, and it's letting other people know, okay, that girl is at a pubescent age, so they can't deal with that girl in a certain way, that they might, oh, she can sit on my lap. No, she cannot. She is at a pubescent age. She is not an innocent little girl. You cannot have that little girl in your lap. So stuff like that. It's just also a protection for women, like,
Respect.
yeah.
Respect. I love the way you broke that down. There's a lot of things that you touched on that I never knew. When I was homeless, I was around the Muslim
Mhm.
community off and on during that time. So
Okay.
there was some things that I were exposed to and some things I just wasn't, to be honest, at all.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the 5% Nation?
Yeah. 100
Okay.
5%. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
have.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, I wanted to
That's
let
what
you
I was a
know
part of. For.
as well. So I do have to pray my Maghrib prayer.
Okay.
So I don't know how much longer we plan on going, but I do have to pray.
Okay.
Um,
Uh,
just letting you
would you
know.
would you I could wait for you if that's fine
Okay, yeah,
for
that
you.
might be
Yeah.
better. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I would
yeah, I
like
could wait for you. I
I
could
would
just sit
like
here
to
and
go
wait.
pray.
Thank you for throwing it out there. You can actually do the prayer. That'll be fine. We'll just take a small intermission break. I don't
Okay.
mind that.
Okay.
Because I do have, I'm not gonna lie, a significant amount of questions to
Okay.
go. I
Yeah,
really
no,
came
we'll do it.
prepared for you today. Like I
I
really did.
appreciate you. Yeah,
Yeah,
so let me
yeah,
pray and then I'll come back.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah. Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll just sit here. We'll just wait.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hello, everyone. We're taking a small intermission just to let you know she's about to pray. I'm going to sit here possibly in silence, and she'll be right back. We do respect everyone here on the platform who is human, and respectfully, that's what she has to do. I do not mind it at all. For those who will be watching this interview later, I know that this is not like probably what you're used to seeing. You're probably like, hey, what's going on? The interview was great. Also, King Rich, just want to shout you out. It is a great day to be alive. This has been a beautiful interview. And I just want to say for all of those who have been watching this interview, thank you up until this point, and for those who will be watching it up until this point, feel free to take a break as well. I know these interviews can be quite long sometimes. And I think this is the perfect chance for you to go run and get some water. Go do what you need to do for you, and then come back and see the rest of an amazing interview. So, yes, we will be right back. Give us 1 second. Again, I want to thank people for being here. Just want to take a small break myself. Yes. Um, for those of you who don't know, please check out the rest of our interviews on our website. We have an amalgamation of interviews as of right now. The last couple of interviews have been nothing short of amazing, including this one as well. And there's a lot to learn on this platform. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. And just remember that we are all human. Thank you for tuning in once again. Um, Also, by the way, for those who are wondering, we'll be jumping back into doing campfire sessions pretty soon, hopefully by the end of this year. For those who don't know, campfire sessions is the global discussion of people who come together from around the world about different subject matters that either impact us now or have impacted us to the span of our existence as human beings. An example of a subject matter was one called The Will to Live, where we talked about the difference between existing, surviving, and living, and what that meant to each person around the globe with different cultural backgrounds. We have also had another one called The Unspoken Rules of Society, where we spoke about how we have different ways that society tries to box us into social etiquette and what code switching does to a person both internally and how that affects us externally. Amazing campfire sessions. I'm looking for the rebirth of that part of human. For those who are interested, you can also find that on our website at www.hvman.org. www.hvman.org. I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Hold on, you turned it around now. That's funny. Hold on, give it a second. See if you could turn it back around. I don't know what's going on. It seems like it's frozen right now. Mm. Hold on, we're trying to bring her back on right now. Give it 1 second. It might not be working, fortunately. Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. I'm going to remove you and then bring you right back on. Hey guys, we're just going to bring her back on real quick. Give me 1 second. Um,
Okay. Can you see me?
yeah, I can see you perfectly.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. Oh my God. Thank goodness we were able to keep the same flow.
Yeah.
I know those who probably will be watching this will probably be like, "Was that part? What's going on?" But I just wanted to let everyone know that, respectfully, you uh, have to keep your arrangements, that you have with your faith, and I respect that 100%. Another thing that I just want to say is people also need to take into account that we are human. Like I've had other interviews where people had to go and use the bathroom. Just to be real, I do not edit these interviews. Everything is raw, and so
Yeah, I appreciate that.
people.
I was actually like, oh, I'm about to wait. I'm about to make wudu, so all my makeup's gonna come off. So I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? Let me go get my cotton pad and start taking this makeup off while I'm talking to you. So by the time we get off the interview, I could already be halfway done with my going to bed routine.
Got you. Got you.
I was like, wait, let me go ahead and start taking off this makeup because then, and I will do that. I don't mind. But then I realized I washed most of it off when I was making my ablution. And I like washed my face to pray. So
Respect, respect. I just respected everything you just did right there, and that we're still able to get you here right now. This has been an amazing interview thus far, and I think it's only going to get more amazing. There's so much that people can learn from you. You know what I'm saying? I'll turn around and give myself a little credit without tooting my horn too hard because I know I said a little bit of things, but basically what you said has been profound thus far.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to continue and ask you, what does the new Black Muslim artistry look like? One
Mm.
rooted in softness, power, and sacred storytelling. What is that?
You said the new Muslim. Say that again.
The new Black Muslim artistry. What does that
Okay.
look like? And then one rooted in softness, power,
Hmm.
and sacred storytelling.
I think it just looks like empowerment, like respect for yourself and appreciation for where you come from, by also not feeling divided from who you are as a human being. Like you don't have to separate all these entities. Like I don't have to go into a Muslim space that maybe has more Arabs than black people and like separate from my blackness in that way. And so my existence is artistry, right? Like because of the way I'm able to flow through life and be in different spaces and still be me within every space that I'm in. If it's like, creatives that are black Muslims, our storytelling is important,
Mm,
right? I want to know the story of Yasin Bey. I'm like, most def, how you became Yasin Bey? Tell us the story, you know?
that is
So
a
new,
beautiful example. Go ahead.
yeah, new black Muslim artistry means like we're not holding back. A lot of his albums, especially Ecstatic, one of my favorite albums, he was like, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, right? On the beginning. And that just means in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I'm doing this album. I'm doing it in the name of the most merciful. And so it looks like unapologetic blackness. My hip hop energy, my culture, the way I show up, the way I dress, the way that I speak, right? Um, None of that, what they be saying? What is it called when you be switching or something? Whatever
Code
it's called.
switching.
Yeah,
Code switching. So I
that.
just spoke about that. I had a campfire session. You probably,
Okay.
I don't know if you've done a deep dive
Yeah,
on
I
my
did. I
platform.
did. I saw the campfires. I was about to ask you about that. Yeah, the
So
campfires.
I did mention that while you was praying, just as a commercial break, so people can
Oh, about the
get more,
campfires?
yeah, get more in tune with it. But I'll mention it again. We had a campfire session called "The Unspoken Rules of Society." Right,
Okay.
I come up with all my titles. I'm what's called a title master, regardless
Mm-hmm.
of me being a title master. The
Mm-hmm.
Unspoken Rules of Society was about code switching and its relation to social etiquette and how code switching causes both an internal and external conflict, and also the dynamicism about what code switching can do. But on top of that, I'll show you an example of what I'm about to say next because I think the example is important. So I was
Mm,
talking to someone and they were like, "Hey Troy, be yourself," because what they weren't used to seeing was me being dynamic, which is different from code switching. It means that I'm meeting you where you're at within conversation because I'm a conversationalist. I was homeless for so long that I understand how to meet everyone where they're at, right?
mm,
But I'm still staying true to myself, even though my cadence of speech has changed a little bit, right?
mm,
To attune to the conversation at hand. And
mm.
so that's one thing I just wanted to throw out there was yes, back to what you were saying. It's just wow.
I love that. I love that. I honestly love that.
But I wanted to also challenge something, not challenging in a
Mm,
negative way, but I want to find a different perspective on it. So when we talk about blackness,
mhm,
I'm so curious because people they talk about us being black, and I was like, well, when I was raised up by my
mhm,
parents, being black wasn't necessarily equated with being ghetto, though.
I don't think it
Right?
is.
And so I think sometimes that's what happens when people I see a conflict within the black community where a lot of people uphold what they perceive as blackness as being ghetto. And then that bleeds into another subset of black people who are not accepted into a
Mm.
ghetto way of life or, oh, I'm not hood. And so
I
they're ostracized almost automatically because I was one of those people. Luckily, even though I was in the hood, I was respected for who I was. But that's not common, right? well, at least it wasn't common when I was growing up. If it was either you get with this or you get with that. Like the black sheep
Mhm.
said, the choice is yours. You like that?
Mhm.
The black sheep, the group, the choice is yours, right? So you have to choose which one are you going to do at that
Mhm.
time. And so now being a nerd as a black person, I think is more accepted due to the wide acceptance of anime, right?
The blurred. Mhm.
Exactly. Now the wide exception of anime. I'm not into necessarily anime, but I've just watched those groups of people who were and how they
Hey,
struggled to fit
you
into.
saw my face.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not against it. It's time,
Okay.
right? I'm a creative. I create a lot, right? I'm
Right.
I'm in a space of where I create right now more than I consume. Right. I've watched some animes. One of the best ones that I know of is Spirited Away. If you talk to anybody who watched anime, they would tell you, "Oh my God, I agree," because it was one of the best animes. I've also saw the original Ghost in the Shell, right, and
Okay.
then saw the sub versions of Ghost in the Shell, right, the other movies that people don't know about that you
Mm.
can watch for free on YouTube, whatever,
Yeah.
regardless of that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to necessarily lose myself within this part of the conversation. But I
Mhm.
just wanted to say that I thought that that's interesting how we perceive what we call blackness in relation
Mhm.
to how we choose to communicate and in relation to how we choose to accept one another and not accept. Right?
Mm.
So
That's facts. Honestly, blackness is unknown. That's exactly how I feel. It's like, how you know? Like, what does that mean? Like, when somebody's like, so how am I supposed to sound? Like, and so for me, growing up, I was listening to orators like Paul Robeson. Like, he sounded so profound and he delivered words in a way that I was like, oh my goodness, that that's amazing. I want to be a speech giver. So I think when we look at blackness, we have to remember that it's unknown to everyone, including us, because we're still trying to understand the nuances of who we are by also rejecting certain parts of us where we just need to bring it all together. It doesn't need to be separated. It can be like one moment I'm like, saying to someone, oh, I ain't feeling you like that. Or the next moment I'd be like, I really don't like that, like the what you just did. And it's not code switching, it's like literally me being me. And it's the same person I'm talking to, right? It's me being me because I grew up in an environment where I was reading, I was listening to orators, but I choose to speak like that because it's just comfortable for me. Like if I choose to shorthand some things in text, it's the same thing. Like, and that is my choice. So I feel like when it comes to blackness, it is fabulous. It is growing. It is beautiful. It is deep, deep. Like so deep that we don't quite understand the depthness of why we were put here and how our uniqueness heals people that are not black. We are a people who show those, even when I have Arab friends that are from here, from the US. They grew up here, American Syrian, American Palestinian, whoever it is. And when I speak to them, they're like, yeah, the first time I was reading what was it? They said, yeah, when I read Malcolm X's book or when I heard Sister Soldier on the track, I was like, oh, this is how I'm meant to fight for liberation. So for me, we are literally a blueprint, an example. Blackness is not ghetto. I do believe that when people experience living in the ghetto, not like the ghettos is not here. It's nowhere in a city area. Like, like the ghettos are places where you don't have no type of corner store, nothing. Right? Ghettos of the world don't look like what we think ghetto is. The hood is where there's liquor stores on every corner. Your neighbors like out here, they might shiesty you. They, like B.O.B. said, I ain't got neighbors, that's why they call it hood. Yeah, I don't got no neighbors, nobody like me out here. They just like, mm-hmm. Not even a hey, how you doing? Like, no, say hey to me. But down the block around the corner in another area. in a whole different city, in a not the hood, neighborhood, a neighborhood. Hey, how you doing? How you doing today? And on top of that, that's just certain people. Because even in my hood, where I'm from, Brick City, Newark, stand up. Where I'm from, I could go outside and somebody who outside like walking their dog, or like literally I know that person, seeing him in the park doing his morning drug activity. He go, hey, how you doing, sis? How you doing? I'm like, hey. They be like, salam alaikum. I'm like, walaikum salam. Yelling for her. But I just be like, that's my people. These are my people, you know. So for me, they're not ghetto at all. They might be going through something that I don't know what they're going through, but they're smart, they're brilliant, they're empaths. The way they see the world, the way that they have to numb themselves with drugs, especially on my block. Okay, on my block, that's what I see when I come out of my house. And they leaning over and they sad, you know, they just feel so much that they don't even want to feel no more because the empathy hasn't been taught how to protect it. The empath, you know, I know a lot of black folks, or blackness is empathetic. Like we like, yeah, sure, we'll help you. The African diaspora, African countries. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome to take. No problem. Like, you know, just empathetic, like really deeply, like the only thing that's valuable is the human soul,
Mm,
the family. So you can take this gold or this oil, whatever. It doesn't matter. I still have my family. I have everything.
mm,
So the way I see blackness is very deep. It's not ghetto. It's misunderstood. It's unknown. It's beautiful. It's very nuanced and depending on where you at. So, because I know when I go outside, I ain't afraid of nobody. I step outside and they looking at me. I'm looking at them. I'm like, listen, what? Like, because what we doing? Like, why you looking at me like that? You know, but they just be like, hey. And I'll be like, yeah, hey. So for me, it's just one of those things. Like, when you experience black people in different spaces, like, I can go to Brooklyn in the same energy or the same hood, might be, it can be compared, but it's different. I'm in Jersey. People here don't leave Jersey. They don't go to the city. In Brooklyn, you can go over to a town over and you be like experiencing all these different cultures. I mean, to a block over, you be then got you some ramen and got you some bobo tea, and you be like, oh, this is like little Korea in Brooklyn, and you just be like, what's this? And you're trying something new. But in my hood, this stuff that's been here since the 70s,
wow.
right? These are people that's around here since Reagan era. You feel me? So I feel like what we describe as blackness is up to us. Like I said to Dr. Yusef Salam, one of the Central Park Five, bless that brother, because he literally told
Mm,
his story. So we spoke on a panel together about Malcolm X's life, and he told his story so beautifully. And I was like, you know what? It's not about how they see us; it's about how we see us. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how they see us until we understand it's how we see us. We're not gonna check for each other. So anytime somebody say hi to me when I come out the house, I'm saying hi. I'm not gonna just stare at them. I'm like, oh, but you ain't speak yesterday, but it's okay. It's like I was just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you was out. You was doing something. You was out of here. You know. So, but I enjoy that camaraderie and that love because it still exists within the Black community, and I think within the Muslim community we are still having to heal certain things because the same fathers weren't there. Some people converted to Islam, you know, because they didn't have community. They converted in prison. Like there's so many different, you know, ways the artistry comes out. And when I'm seeing the filming, I'm seeing books, I'm seeing curating events and all these different things, you know what I mean? So
mm,
it just looks the way that we see us. That's how it looks.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. So I'm gonna say something a little bit. I did like that you brought the Central Park Five. That movie was heartbreaking. I saw that movie, man. You know, obviously I'm from New York, so I do know the story.
Mhm.
Um, I learned it later on in life. There was that's just a lot to unpack there that I'm not going to, let's say, dive too deep into. But when I see blackness, to keep it short, or when I see us as black people, or particularly brown, because I'm brown skinned technically, just to be honest.
Yeah.
But what I see is innovation, right?
Mm.
The world, there's a lot of things that's built off of us. right? Well, my mother taught me that. I have that gift of innovation. That's why we're here now on a platform that I've put together. Um, but that's what I see.
Mm,
Ideas in the world, and we have created some of the most profound ideas in the world known to man and known to things. And so I just want to throw that out there for those who will be watching this later. That when we look at ourselves, look at the fact that you are a plethora of ideas that have yet to be applied to a situation or into an environment. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
That doesn't yet know you yet, or a world that doesn't fully understand you yet. But it is our job almost to make sure that we bring those ideas to life and try our best to do it within our communities and even outside of our communities. But in all, try to do it together. Right. And I think that's the main.
Absolutely.
What I will go ahead and say is, would you describe softness in its relation to power? Because I see
Mm,
softness and power within that. The question that
yeah.
the previous questions I asked before, and I'm just curious, what does that look like for you?
It just looks like owning, for me, it's just owning who I am as a woman in my sacred feminine energy. Softness does not have to be something that is, it's unassuming. So you don't, it's powerful in that way. It's unassuming. I'm not literally here like I'm the person that's doing all this and I'm the person that's delegating. Or I'm no, I don't need to say that. I'm just relaxed and chill and in my sacred feminine energy. And then I'm asked, what do you need? Do you need anything, sis? Do you need anything, queen? And I'm like, oh, thank you for asking. It's like, no, because you're just quiet, or you're just, I'm like, I'm just observing and I'm grateful to be here. I'm just feeling what my heart is telling me. And that means I'm not doing, I'm just being. Softness is dissolving. It's like literally like the clouds that I see, they're just being, you know? So it's powerful because when the clouds pour down, it changes people's schedules and lives and you don't even know what's happening. And then when lightning strikes in the sky, everybody's like, what's happening? I don't know, but the clouds are there within that strength of that lightning and thunder. So they are still soft creation that is made, but the reality is as a woman, I'm learning my sacred feminine energy and I'm learning I don't have to do. I don't have to speak all the time to be where I need to be. Sometimes it's just about being, you know?
Mm, beautifully said. How do you see respects within relationship, especially in marriages? I did
How do I
see a
see you?
post respect in relationships, especially marriages. What is that? How would you define that? What does that look like for you?
It's very complex.
Yes, I did see a post on your Instagram. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical about whether I was gonna do that or not, but I was like, a conversation should be had.
Hmm.
What I saw in the post was that you was talking about value and the value that a man brings, I guess, into a relationship, and that he can't get respect if that value is not at a certain level. Right? I felt like it was value in relation to respect. I think you know what post I'm talking about. Under
Yeah.
investigation, I saw it had the highest amount of interactions that I saw
Yeah.
yet. And I was mind blown. It was like, well, if a man doesn't respect, his is not more educated or not
Hmm.
making more money than and then
Hmm.
doesn't have emotional intelligence. And
Hmm.
so, would you like to please educate us on that
To be,
perspective? Because I have a different perspective, but I just want to see.
yeah, to be honest, it's quite simple, honestly. A man needs respect. If I look at someone as my friend, they don't have to worry about what level I respect them on because the level that I've chosen or that we've chosen is friendship. Or so it's always going to be level. Like that's going to be the level. Now, if someone's coming into my life like I'm trying to marry you, okay, there's a certain expectations I do have. Like, and those expectations within marriage, like you asked, is that I am able to relax and that man is able to provide. And within retrospect, it's wherever he is. So if like I'm married to someone who's from Puerto Rico. That whatever I'm moving there. Okay? Like that's what you're able to do, I'm moving there. If that person is in New York City, okay. Well, clearly you can take care of yourself, so you can now take care. This is like the financial aspect I'm going over. I didn't go over everything else. Then that's where I'm moving. Now, a lot of the times you can communicate with someone where you understand that we're gonna work on things together. That's not something that's not gonna happen. Like that's facts. You're gonna, you're gonna want to build businesses with the person you're married with. You're gonna want to invest those things. But the initial reality is, if you cannot pay the bills, like take care of your household, and I got to go out and get the bag for the household, whether it's split 50-50 or 70-30 or whatever it is. Certain things as a woman, like I just like to get for my house. I don't need you to tell me to get. I'm going to get stuff to decorate my house. That's just what it is. I'm going to get stuff to make my house look nice. That's just what it is. Or my wherever I'm living. Like I don't need somebody to give me money to do that. If it's something I want to do, I'm going to do that. Um and that's natural, like for a woman to do. But the reality is, if I'm living under a man's roof, that's his house, that he is the leader of that house, he needs to be able to keep that household maintained. Now, I can make sure bills get paid, meaning you give me the card, okay, and I pay the bills and I make sure everything's paid, everything's coming out, and all the books are aligned, and we're even growing money over here because as a woman, I multiply. That is why I said that, because if I can't come into a situation where I'm already doing what I'm doing over here and you have nothing to multiply, you have nothing, like, no. Mm-mm. I'm not going to be able to respect, you know, someone who is saying, I want to be your husband, I want to lead my family. I'm not going to be able to respect. Then on the knowledge level, if I know more than someone, and it's not to say like, oh, like I'm more knowledgeable, no, it's just certain things, the basic things like that are important to me when it comes to Islam, right? Like prayer. If a man does not know how to lead me in prayer, you can't be my husband because that's your job. You're meant to lead your wife in prayer. Like you're meant to do that. You call the adhan, you pray, we pray. Now, if I'm teaching you certain things about like what's haram, what's halal, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you have to do this. I'm gonna now look at you like my son because now I'm teaching you the deen, and now I'm gonna be like, oh boy, I don't have that type of spiritual strength in me to do that. There's plenty of women that's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take care of him. I'm gonna teach him the deen. Not me. I can't raise someone who I didn't push out of my womb. I can't do that. Um, and what?
It's just the way you said that. Oh yeah, I'm teaching the thing. Yeah, you go into these characters. I love it. It's great. Go ahead.
Because that's the thing. Men are very simple creatures. Like you do that for a man. You do all of this. Oh, I'm gonna get him his Muslim wardrobe. I'm gonna teach him the deen. I'm gonna do that. Man is gonna go find someone else that he can be a man with because he gonna feel like you are his mother. Like that is the reality. Men need respect. A woman cannot respect a man she raised. That's just simple as that. And that's where I'm gonna leave that because that's what I was saying. But I tried to spread it out so people could understand what I'm not doing. That you can't do this, you can't do that. How are you supposed to respect this man if he can't do these things for himself? And he also wants you to continue to do those things for him. Like, even if it's like, okay, at the beginning, I'm trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. But within 3-4 months, like you haven't figured out a financial plan. Show me the plan, man. Man with the plan. Show me the plan because I want to follow your lead. Like that's women are meant to, and then that's why a lot of black men will go and marry someone who's not black because they're like, no, you figure it out. This is whatever you want to do. Like, yeah, I mean, I got some ideas, but I want you to lead because they watching to see because those women were raised to marry in wealth. Those women were raised to marry someone who understands the value of being a man and taking leadership and taking responsibility of his family. Those women were black women. God make it easy because a lot of the times the mothers be like, "Oh, you just need to get you a man. You just need to have babies." Can you teach me the value? Not all black women, but can you teach me the value of myself first before I go and make someone else's value more, and then I'm focusing on pouring into them, and then I resent them, and then I'm like, get out of my face. Like I don't like you because now I poured all my whole entire being into you because I didn't see the value in myself. That is something I see in the Black community a lot, especially in the Black Muslim community. I see that too. It still drags over, right?
Mm,
So I say this to say it's important that people come 100 100. I'm not with the 50-50. If I'm coming 100 a woman, I'm coming to nurture my husband. I'm coming to take care of. I'm gonna make sure food is on the table. I'm gonna make sure we have a garden in the backyard. I'm gonna grow your business. Like, I'm gonna make sure you're not working. Like, you don't have to, no, because this is what you want to do. Oh, I found a connect that's like willing to invest and it's a grant, this and that. I filled out the application, this and that. I'm coming 100 because I know what you're doing is for the family. And then you come in 100 because you like already got a setup. The bills is paid. You don't gotta worry. There's food in the fridge. Like you don't gotta worry. Okay, I got this set up. I'm supporting you with your goals as well. I'm taking care of my fatherly duties by playing with my kids, talking to them, being emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent. Okay, what do you need? Are you okay, babe? Like, what's going on with you? Are you okay? How was your day today? It doesn't seem, not, oh, my day. Everything's about me. I'm gonna be like, next, cancel. Why did no, no, because it's not an everyday like that. Why should women have to deal with all of that plus providing plus being emotionally a therapist for someone else that just needs to go to therapy, to be honest? That's not right. That's wrong. And the reason why I'm saying it's wrong is because, and that's why when I heard you when you were like, "Oh, I don't go by right and wrong." I'm literally saying it because it's wrong to me. It's wrong for my soul. This is my thermometer or my barometer. Like that's, I don't love myself if I'm doing that. Because now I'm like, "Oh, I love somebody so much more than myself that I'm willing to pour every little ounce, my dime, everything into them so that they could figure out how to be a man that leads me." That sounds crazy. Do you hear me? Do you hear what I'm saying?
I
Go
could,
ahead.
I
Let me
could,
let
I
you go
could.
ahead.
No, I love what you said. I love what you broke down. Definitely from your perspective. I actually don't have anything to say that's necessarily against that, right? I will say as a man, I've had complexities, right? Because I work as rude. That's what leads us here today. But I've seen a lot of people, or a lot of women in particular, bank on my what I call my potential, right? Like I haven't made it to the level they want me to be at, and so they're like drifting around, like, "Oh, when are you going to really get there?" And I'm like, "Well, if you do that with me, right, as a man."
Mhm.
What do you
Mhm.
expect my reaction to be? Do you expect my reaction to be like, "Oh yeah," when I finally do get there? Do you expect me to be like, "Oh hey, what's going on? Yeah, come over here now." No, 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 no. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the direct opposite. And so, me and somebody spent that time last night speaking about that without me sounding crazy at all. Okay, me
No, you can.
saying this in a very sensible way.
Mhm.
I met someone briefly.
Mhm.
I talked briefly, via
Yeah.
cellular communication. And I was like, huh, interesting. It seems like this individual, there's a lot of, I told you, communication goes in three ways: push, pull, and still. Seems like there's a lot of pulling coming from you. Like, oh, I feel like I'm pulling you. You know what? No, no worries. I know what that feels like, and I immediately detach myself.
Mhm.
But then I'm left with like the feeling of like, well, well, please don't spin the block. Don't, no disrespect, but please don't do that because that's disrespecting me. Because I've worked
Mhm.
really hard. I'm working really hard to get to where I'm going. I worked really hard to get to this point. I was homeless for 15 years. What do you think that
Mhm.
took for me to get out of that? Right?
Yeah.
To even
Mhm.
get to this point, and then I have to go further than this with this platform I have now.
Exactly.
So now it's like me and someone else spoke about it. Me and my roommate, we spoke about how
Mhm.
we're trying to understand like how this works nowadays, like for real. But my cousin said something that stood out to me one day. She
Mhm.
said, "Troy, who are you putting yourself in front of?" And I started to get better at putting myself in front of better women, right? Because I feel like at that time I was focused on someone that just really wasn't for me. But at
Mhm.
this point in life, I'm still just
Mhm.
trying to figure out what that looks like.
Mhm.
And a lot of women that I would actually take serious are usually in situations, and unfortunately, that's the way
Yeah.
the cookie crumbles, right? Until the right person comes along. But I'm
Mhm.
curious to build something with somebody because if you come to me when I'm already at where I'm trying to go.
Hmm.
That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, no, this
That's
gets to
black.
be very,
So,
yeah.
that's what I feel like is painful when take a step back and look at the situations
Mm-hmm.
I deal with from time to time, but also the situations I see a lot of other men deal with that come to me and talk to me about it. Like, hey, like, I know men who have it all. They have their own apartment, their car, everything, and they don't like how
Mm-hmm.
it's just the entitlement. Like, hey, you didn't help me get this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think there's
Yeah.
a friction going on there between a lot of men and women about what does it look like for us to build? And if you weren't around during the building process, then what does it look like for you to come into my life, especially as a man, when I
Mm-hmm.
already have it built? What does that look like? And are you truly here for me or truly here for what it is that I bring to the table? And that's another thing that I think men have an issue with. And this is just me speaking. I love your stance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to get your
Interesting.
stance at all. But this is what a lot of men are feeling. And I'm telling
Yeah.
you, there's a lot of pain in that sector. Well, that's to why guys are like, hey, I don't even want to deal with them. We go out, talk a little bit, and check the temperature. And if it's a little too hot, you got to let go of that because nobody likes to get burned.
That's real. No, that's for real. And also, I realized that if a woman is in her purpose, she's not trying to sweat you and take what you got. She just wants to add to it. And that's the reality why I say if it's a hundred, that's how it's coming. Because a man who has built himself and even emotionally, he's not concerned about this person taken from them, or like if I built it without. No, I built this because I want to settle down and I want to take care of my family because that's my job. Like that's my. And so a woman, if they're healed, and so a woman coming along, it's not like, oh yeah, yeah, he about to get me this, he about to get me. You're not trying. Don't be spending all that man's money. You go ahead and be like, listen, I really want to understand the seriousness of our relationship and like where it's going. I have a lot going on with myself right now. I see that you're doing great things and this is amazing, but I want to understand, like, what do you date for? Do you date for marriage? Do you just date to talk? Or like what are you lonely? Because I don't have time to waste. And that is a woman who is very serious about building with you because she's not trying to take from you. She's trying to come in and help whatever you have multiply. And she just wants to make sure you're ready for that role. Because if a man is not ready to provide, it's just messy. It's just messy. And it's like, and that comes from hurt, and that comes from not understanding the divine given role of a man. A man is a protector, a provider. I need to be able to look up to my man like I'm crying, there's so much going on. Like I want to be able to cry. I don't want to be like you strong, you got this. I'm tired, I'm crying. I need you to hold me. Like I need you to tell me it's gonna be okay and give me advice because you are a wise man. Like that is it's like what I have an idea. I think I know. Like men are solution oriented, and some women be like, I just want him to listen to me. I'm like, he ain't your girlfriend. Listen, go talk to your girlfriends about that. He want to fix the problem. If you coming to him, be ready for him to fix the problem, and don't be upset that you don't gotta fix everything. Yes, he do. I want him to fix it. Yes, he do. Why would you say, oh, because you're not in your feminine energy? You're not in your feminine energy, and you want to, yeah.
It's
I don't
happening
know.
a
It's
lot.
crazy.
That's happening
It's
a lot.
crazy.
And that's and speaking from my own personal experience, I run across that friction a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, okay, like this is not
It's a
it's
mess. It's a mess.
it is what it is. I'm not going but what I will switch lanes and say, what defines love in this day and age, right? We just had a really good conversation, and I just thought that I'll add that to the end of it. Tag
Yeah.
that to the end of it.
Love is literally undefinable.
Ooh.
If you try to
Ooh.
define it, you don't understand the meaning. Like, I truly understand that. Like, you can't define love because it's not good or bad. It's not easy or hard. Like, it's those things simultaneously. It's like it's a journey, but it's not defined, it's not a definition. People will have love out there's a definition, or they say Valentine's Day, all of this stuff. Da, 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 da. It's really not definable. The moment you try to define love, you forget how infinitely beautiful it is. Like it's beyond, it's not finite. Love is everlasting. Like it is, the love is everlasting. That's the reality. And someone can be dead and gone, and they just poured so much love into someone. You will always remember, oh, they did so much, and you keep bringing them up, because they loved you and they poured love into you, even if they're not here anymore. So love is not something you can destroy. It's not definable. So why do we define it? It's because human beings, we just have to make sense of things, and not everything's meant to make sense. It's okay. It's not meant to be defined, and everything's meant to be defined. Yeah.
Hmm. So let me actually take that a little step in a little different direction.
Hmm.
Can love truly be unconditional? See, I asked my mom this before you give your answer. My mom said no. Okay. I thought that was really interesting. That was a very interesting answer. I was like, wow, at least she's pretty honest, about that based on her perspective. We just had a really good conversation about the intricacies of relationships, which kind of then would lead into love, I guess, right? But do loves have the is can love truly be unconditional?
So my love for the divine is unconditional. My love for human beings has conditions. So it's that simple.
I really respect that. I do. Thank you for saying that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you gotta
it.
have conditions because people will take your love and just do whatever. You gotta have conditions. This is just showing your boundaries and
Yeah, they
respect.
will. I remember the first time I asked a young lady that I was like, "Hey, can love be unconditional?" She was like, "No, because if you're beating on me, I gotta let you go." And I was like, respectfully, I respect that 100%. I do.
It's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I respect that. What was
Hmm.
the moment of despair that made you a stronger woman? I could sense the strength from you, and I just wanted to know that part. I know that we're going a little bit in a different direction here, but
There's so many different moments, but one that was recent, I think, was I had got second degree burn on my face. It was on the left side of my face, and my eye, I could have went blind in this left eye. I don't, this is my first time ever talking about it. Out loud. I've told my friends, I've told people personally in my life. And I was modeling heavily for a lot of makeup brands at that time. Um, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my face, like, like just, oh my God. Like, this was before I went to Yemen. And I was like, this is a sign. And, it hurt so bad. Like, even to this day, when I feel like the hot water touched me, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I feel like this side of my face starts tingling. It's so crazy. And I feel like that is a recent moment. I want to say even before that, someone robbed me in the Bronx. I didn't have nothing for them to take. They just took my bag with no money in it. Um, I was going to visit one of these pioneers at an event. It was like Treacherous 3, KRS-One. It was like an event at a school in the Bronx because I was heavily involved with like a lot of Zulu stuff at that time. And yeah, I don't know if he had a gun in his pocket, but he did have his hand in his pocket and he was like, give me your bag now. Like, he was like, and I was like, yo, I never gotten robbed before, you know? And I was like, well, I'm not in Jersey, so I'm gonna give you this bag, but just to let you know, there's nothing in here because I have
mm,
no money. Like, I had no money, but also I keep all my cards in my pockets, like, So I just gave him the bag. In that moment, I realized I was like, yo, it's just not safe out here. Like, I felt unprotected, and I felt like because he was a black dude, and I was like, dang. And it made me really so, at that point, I was like so angry at black men at that point. Like, I think I was so angry because that happened. I was like, why? I was so upset. And I think that changed. Yeah, that made me feel really sad because I was like, I don't think black men love black women. I was like,
ooh. Yo, that's
yeah,
actually let's isolate that for a second because I
yeah,
was gonna bring it up. The black on black like friction. I've also felt like because I was always told like I'm not good enough.
mhm,
I don't carry myself a certain way, especially when I was in New York. It was just like I became ostracized as a black man from the black woman to a degree. Black women still love me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not quite like they don't.
yeah,
Okay, I'll be wrong. but
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I wasn't a certain archetype, and because of that, I was kind of shut out from certain, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, experiences. I guess you could say, like,
Mm-hmm.
within that field. But I just wanted to highlight that for a second, like the black on black like hatred that we have for one another sometimes is crazy, especially black men and black women and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It
So,
makes me sad, honestly, because it's like we're so beautiful, like, and we just have to love each other, love ourselves. Like, we can't really change anything about our community unless we change within ourselves, and it has everything to do with self-love. And just seeing how beautiful we are individually, and then bringing that together with union. You know, it's just one of those things. It's all the adversities we face from colonization to drugs in the like place in places where people were flourishing, black communities were flourishing, drugs put there, the burning down of homes and apartments, and just, really ostracizing black families, the arresting of black men and women, the killing of black men and women and cops, and just the intensity we feel. I think there was a something that this guy wrote. He's a journalist. I gotta find it. He said a black boy walking to school experiences the same amount of trauma as a black boy walking in Iraq being bombed. And I was like, hey yo. I was like, huh? I was gonna read that again, and then I realized every part of the body signifies stress in both of those spaces. The stress is heightened because he could be walking to school, and he didn't say in the hood. He said walking to school because he is just a black boy that is walking to school in any place that he has to like look around, people looking at him, he looking, like it don't matter. Because in my hood, like when I see people walking around, or even just in Newark, New Jersey, period, when I see people walking around and they together, they friends, everybody, the black joy is in full effect. Everybody good. But I don't know about a black boy walking to school in a suburban neighborhood that's all white, cops are white, they don't know these kids. I don't know what that boy is going through. And so when I read that, I was like, that's actually accurate because everything in the body signals I'm gonna die. I might die today. I might die today because no one values my life. And so if you feel like, if a black boy's like, my life isn't valued, maybe the only one who values my life is my mom, or even if they even grew up having their mom there,
mm,
they might feel like they had a man that was their mom because the dad wasn't around, and so their mom practiced hyper masculinity,
mm,
you know? And so they don't feel like safe, or they don't feel like anyone cares because all they feel like is that, oh, I had to be a man to my mother because my father left and I'm still a little boy and no one cares about how I feel, and my life isn't valued, and all these things black boys go through. And the same thing with black little girls, not
mm,
feeling beautiful enough, not feeling attractive, or just seen in a sexual way. Like, there were events I was at this event in a park, in Newark, and there were these photographers there, taking photos, and I was kind of feeling some type of way, and they were, yeah, they I don't know what background they want. I don't always like to use the word white because they could be Caucasian from like, you know, the Anglos, you know. There's plenty of different European, they could be from anywhere. Because they do have like, heritage as well. So, yeah. So he was taking a photo of this little girl in the park, and I was like, "Excuse me." I was like, "Excuse me, honey, where's your mom?" I was like, "No, no, no." I was like, "You can't take a picture of her." And he was like, "Oh, I'm just, don't worry." And I'm like, "No, no, no." Because he kept asking her to pose for him. And I was like, "No." I was like, I was getting so triggered. I was like, "Where's your mom?" And she was like, "My mom?" She had to be like 6 or 7. I was like, "Yeah, we need to find your mom." I was like, "Excuse me, no more photos." And he was like, "Fine, whatever," like that. And I was like, "Yeah, I know it's fine because you're not about to take pictures of her, like, oh, like smile for me." And I was like, "No, no," because I was watching this. Somebody sent me this thing of I think it was Elvis Presley singing to this little girl, like. telling her to dance, and this is crazy. I was like, and saying like, "Oh, you look so beautiful, little girl. I might want to take you home." I was like, this pedophilia, this stuff, this is like really, it's a disease of the heart. It's
Mm,
something that people have, and it's their challenge in this life. It's not something that's easy to stop, but it's something that they have to work on. But that means like as people, if we see that that's wrong, like that's not good that that child might experience something like, because yeah, that's not good. And there's a lot of things we don't understand when it comes to that, like, and there might be like somebody who's like, oh no, I married my daughter off to that person, like don't worry about it and she's fine, that's our culture. And so do you say anything, do you? So there's a lot of,
mm,
things I feel within the Black community that we have experienced, like, and I can't demonize anybody because they have a past of the same thing they're doing has been done to them.
mm.
The same things that they're doing as adults,
Hurt people hurt people.
exactly. That has been done to them and no one fixed it. No one said, no, this isn't right. We got to take you to get some help. Nope. They kept letting them people do whatever to those young boys and girls, and then they grew up to be the way they are. So it's just a matter of us seeing and loving each other and past the pain, but also saying, okay, yeah, I want you to eat. I want you to do you. I want you to, but we don't always got to sit at the same table to eat because maybe it
Mm,
might be too toxic for me because I'm healing and I don't want to deal with that toxicity, but I'm going to pray for you. You know,
mm.
that's more than enough sometimes. You don't need to be like bringing in the toxicity and nurturing the toxicity and watering the toxicity. You don't need to do that. It's not. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So I wanted to change lanes. That was a beautiful explanation, by the way. Uh, Let us know about your soul style diaries. I know you mentioned that before, but I did
Mhm.
have a question for that, and I think it's such a cool name. So, what inspired you to really come up with that? That's a beautiful name.
Thank you. I feel like soul, like your soul and like the way that you vibrate in the world is like how you want people to connect with you. Just like how clothes is an expression how people see you like when I think it's like a saying like when you first walk in the room, that's how people get to know you without even you having to open your mouth,
Mhm.
right? So this is like a silent like way of expressing yourself artistically or creatively. Soul style is, rooted in knowing your soul and what your soul feels beautifully draped in, right? Because your soul can be draped in love, your soul can be draped in kindness and intellect and all these different things. And so how does your, style reflect that? It can be in many different ways. And I think that it's up for the person to interpret that. Um, so I think soul style also aligns with who you want to be. So you dress for, oh, Marcus. Hi, Marcus. How are you? Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so soul style is first starting with the inner work first. And I always say when it comes to your style, start with your jewelry. Because no matter what you wear, if you wear all black, if you wear all white, your jewelry, that's why a lot of people do like and have like tribally and culturally gotten tattoos because it's something that you can wear without it being, like something you put on. It's just like a part of you. So
Mhm.
that's why a lot of people have done that, over, thousands and thousands of years to show who they are, where they come from, expression of their soul. So that's why I always, when it comes to soul style, I don't start with like my sneakers or my bag. I start with my jewelry because my jewelry is an expression, it's very personal. It's an expression of my inner, like my inner work, my inner soul. Like, okay, today I really feel rooted in my indigenous heritage and who I want to become, and how does this connect to being, someone who wants to be free of what this country, is telling me I need to do. So I might be like, oh, I want to wear a headpiece that represents that, like over my hijab, and I want to wear some earrings that show that, like turquoise earrings or something like that, that really connect to me feeling like, yeah, this is me. This is my soul speaking. So I'll start with jewelry and then layer from there and then start with my colors and all that. But yeah, soul style is just an expression of your soul within your wardrobe. Like there's no other style like it because as you can see, everyone's looking the same today.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is I purposely constructed my style over time to look the way I
Hmm.
look. I mean, hence how I got into the gauges, and
Yeah,
I have a watch collection that matches all my gauges. I just do
that's
certain
dope.
things, design my own clothing. I have multiple clothing lines actually, but that's
Mhm.
again, this interview is not about me. It's about you. But
I
I
like
just
to
want
hear it
to
though. I like to hear what you're doing though. That's so.
thank you. I really do appreciate that. I'm trying my best to do an amalgamation of things, right? As of right now. So
Mhm.
I'm focused on these interviews. I'm also focusing on do website design, and I'm learning app design as well. I've done film scoring, special effects, color grading of film and narration. Just to give you a little
I
insight
love that.
into
That's
deep.
dope. Oh, we definitely got to talk. We got
Yeah,
some more stuff to talk about. I think, yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah.
got to.
Yeah, I definitely have to talk to you for sure. I know it's probably gonna be a little late, but let's just continue with the interview. I have
Yeah.
exactly 11 more questions to go, and then we'll be
Okay.
done. Good, just to let you know, because I know that it's getting a little late on your side. But I
Yeah.
would.
Wait, where are you?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. Yeah. So we're like an hour, right?
Yes,
That's
we're
right. CST.
yeah, CFT
Yeah.
versus EST. And I would love to speak with you after this. I usually do
Yeah.
a debrief kind of call,
Okay.
just to like, hey, how did you? But regardless,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm saying this all in the middle of the interview. And regardless, I wanted to ask, outside of the Soul Diaries, which amazing by the way,
Thank
Soul Style Diaries, excuse me,
you.
amazing by the way.
Thank
How do
you.
you go about building sacred structures from the unseen bridges between the heart and the heavens?
Mm.
This I thought was profound. The words in which you decided to use again was just
So the beautiful aspect of what we do is not always gonna, people not always gonna know everything. And so I think it's very important to have those times of seclusion to be able to connect to what is unexplainable. And I can say this by, and even when that was put into my bio, like when I was putting that into there to send to you, I was literally remembering when I was in Jerusalem. And right now, obviously there's a lot going on. And I've always wanted to go to Jerusalem because, generationally, Christians, growing up Christian, like, oh, that's the promised land. You got to go there. You got to go there. That's where we need to go. I experienced some energetic feels, things that opened up for me there, that this is considered where like Yaqub's ladder was, or like Jacob's ladder, where he heard angels' footsteps and it was like a gateway to heaven, like where he would sit at the steps of this particular mosque, Al Aqsa Mosque, which is what the turmoil is all about right now, by the way. Um, and he just fell asleep and he heard footsteps, but he was there at the gateway, right? He was there with that bridge that no one could actually see, but he heard noises and like, footsteps of like these creatures that were like we can't see. And so when I think about that story, I think about my experience at Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, right? And so what I experienced there in Palestine was really a true, deep, seat rooted path to connect directly to the heavens, directly. And it wasn't something I could see and I ever knew that existed. But when I sat in silence, that's where a lot of the poetry started pouring out, a lot of the spiritual connection between like that realm and this one. And so when I think about how I would sit there and fall asleep in this mosque, it's called Baba Rahma, which means the door of mercy, and how this place is like just so connected. It's like where Mary like was, and where she kept Jesus and all these things. The history there, you can feel it. It's so profound that you just fall asleep there, and you start to have these like awakenings to things like you dream about, or things that you think is a dream but actually it's happening, and you can't believe, like, you just look at the sky, you're like, what is that opening? What is that? What is that? What is that? Hold on. I don't think I'm ready. Don't show it to me. I don't know what it is. Like, so I think there it's just a spiritual um opening, and like just direct connection. And so I think just thinking about being at Masjid al-Aqsa when I'm home even, it really helps me to bridge that, you know, to create that bridge between my heart in the heavens, like, and it's not something you can see, it's something you have to feel and experience. It's not something that I can draw it for you. I can't. You have to go there, you have to sit there, you have to be with the people there that are literally laying down their lives and not willing to give up because they love God so much. Like, that unconditional love is there, you know and so my heart expanded in Jerusalem so much, because so many of these prophets that we don't really talk about, or we don't know where they are, they're buried there. They're buried there. And also talking to this brother, this Ethiopian brother, about the book of Enoch and how he was left out of the yeah, because there's a lot of Ethiopians that come to Jerusalem as well, and they understand a lot about the history that has been left out of the Injil, which is known as the Bible today. And he could possibly be buried in Jerusalem, but we don't know, because people like to discredit someone because of the color of their skin. They don't want people to know that there was a black. Because what if black people knew that there was a prophet? What would have happened? Black people was like, would be like, oh, well, I mean, we could come from a legacy of prophets. Then I don't need to be out here rapping and playing ball. Like, I could go and study and learn these languages and speak multiple ones. But now we're coming back to our original design, where we're seeking knowledge, we're learning languages. That's just because what else you gonna do? You can only evolve, or you're dying. You know, you have to change your trajectory of who you are, or who people told you to be. So that connection to the heart and the heavens is just a connection to what is so pure, what is full of love, what is truly genuine. And I felt it there in Jerusalem. Yeah, it's beautiful too. I always cry when I go there. It's so beautiful. It's like I feel like I'm walking up the steps to like heaven. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm walking. I'm like, like it's just so beautiful. Like I can't explain it. And this is what the fight is about. And I know that's why people are fighting. Like it's hard because you go there and you're like, why can't we just be at peace, you guys? Like, can we all just be one? Like, you just want that because this place is so beautiful.
You remind me of when I had a situation unfold. It was a pretty crazy situation at the time, but something took place, and I call it portalizing. It's like something opened up within me and something shot through me. And when
Mm,
I hear you talk about like how, you connect your heart to the heavens, that's what that reminds me of. Of
mm-hmm,
course, the energy that I felt was different. There was a lot of hectic, it was a hectic situation. Something had
mm-hmm.
to happen. And so something,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, though.
There's a lot of hecticness going on there, so I just want to mention that. So that is aligned with how things open to the heavens, because a lot of, you know, like things that you don't understand as chaotic that's happening, that's when your salvation opens. That's when your peace opens. That's when the answer becomes open to you, and it only comes from your heart. Like, that is revealed because you're still, like you said, like still push and pull. You have to be still to know what the answer is, to not push it or to not be pulled by it. You have to just and let it unlock, you know what I mean? And that bridge just comes out and it's just like right there. It's like, wow, okay, this is my connection. This is my direct connection. Yeah.
Mm. How is how is creativity a form of worship? You did bring that up. And I wanted
Oh
to
yeah.
jump into that. That's yeah, because we're definitely going to get kind of holy today.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah, because it is a gift. Everything we've been given is a gift. I always ask people, can you make a tomato seed? Um, and I just wait, and they're like, I mean, I'd be like, the question is, you can't. Maybe lab generated, maybe, but it will never bear the same nutrients as the original tomato seed. So I think about creativity in a way where it comes from the divine. And so for that reason, it's like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Like everything that I do, why wouldn't it be for that reason? For the love that I have, for the unconditional love, the love, you know? Why wouldn't it be for that? And
Mm,
so my intentions are to worship my creator with everything that I do because there would be no creativity without my creator. And that's just how I see it. And that's the reality for me because, you know, we have this name, this attribute, it's called El Khaliq in Arabic, and it means the creator. And so when people say, you know, I'm a creator, I'm like, yeah, you are a part of the creator, but the reality is, you know, we are the living creativity, the living creative that the creator made to express what is put in us from the moment of conception. We're literally, well, no matter what it is, if it's dark, if it's light, if it's airy, if it's heavy, it doesn't matter.
mm,
This is all, these are all the attributes of the divine. So I just choose to, you know, and I pray that that continues to worship with everything that I do because my whole entire existence is a work of art. My vessels, that link up to my muscles, the veins, everything. Like it's just so amazing. Have you ever seen like the human biological body without the skin and just like the muscles, the like it's like I mean
yes.
it reminds me of like when you go it's just like and it's technically like really profound and amazing because even when I think about how people deal with technology and how they like, oh yeah, this wire needs to go with this wire and this and all this stuff, and you go into this big room with all of these like, you know, storage things or whatever, and you just like these are like the smart this is like the smart room with all the panels and everything. And it's like, yo, I am far more advanced in this room. That's the thing, because I'm literally like looked at as a human being in order to how to copy, how to make a phone or a computer respond. Responsiveness. What do you need for responsiveness? Okay, the computer might need this um type of motherboard or like to store data, but it also needs to be able to connect to this type of outer connection that gives them information, which is the Wi-Fi, and the satellite needs to be able to, and all of this is a direct understanding of how I am as a human being. How do I tap in? Okay, that's my soul. That's like what people would be like, okay, how do I download? My soul downloads. Well, sorry, the brain downloads and the heart is what where it sits in the motherboard. It's where everything is stored. People think it's stored here. No, the brain downloads and the heart receives it. So if you feel heavy, if you feel tight, your heart is like, can you do some emptying, please? Because this is a lot. Like this
Mm,
is a lot, you know? So when I see things in that way, it's important for me to be emptied of what I want and just to align with what the divine wants for me. And that is constantly within everything that I do. I try my best to set that intention.
mm, mm. How can we consistently remind the world that beauty can still be holy?
Hmm. Because, you know, the way we do that as humans is that we see, as we look into the eyes of someone, we look into their eyes with depth and sincerity, and we see their soul, right? And we see that beauty is in the soul of the lover. If you love, genuinely love, like beauty is not about the flesh. Beauty is genuinely in the soul of the lover. If you are a lover, And I'm not talking about a relationship because people get soulmates confused. Your soulmate is not someone you fall in love with and marry. Your soulmates, plural, are people who are going with you on the path to get closer to the divine and to dissolve into you so that you don't exist and they don't exist. It is just the divine that exists. And so when you look at love in this way, you literally see beauty all around you. Like, and that is what makes it pure. And holiness is pure. That's just what it is. Everything. I remember the other day, I was looking at this bird just sitting there bathing in this dirty water. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. That water is so dirty, but this is just so beautiful. Like, you're taking a bird bath on my block, and I just needed to see that beauty, but the water is dirty, you know? And I was just like, that's so beautiful. But that doesn't mean the bird isn't clean because the bird is washing with whatever minerals or whatever things that God put there for the bird to wash with, you know? So that maybe may be clean for the bird. It might make the feathers shine, make all these things. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a human looking at the water like it's dirty, but the bird is probably like, I'm taking a bath and it's gonna clean me very well. Thank you. Um, and so when I think about seeing things in that way, that was a holy like washing. I'm like when I wash to go pray, I felt that bird. I was like, yeah, go ahead, clean yourself. Like, like I get that. You gotta wash off. And so when I look at even the wings of a bee, like thin and so see-through, and they're sitting there just pollinating all day, working, working. They work when the sun comes out, working, working, making spring look so beautiful. Like just sitting there, and people are like, "Ugh, these bees," and I'm like, "Do you not see the beauty of their existence? They are literally making spring. They're literally having spring sprung, like literally, like that is pure love. So if a bee is around you, just be, like literally be. Do not try to fight it off because that bee is just trying to do its work, so that you can see all the work put into this creation, this beautiful flower, these beautiful bed of roses. So I think seeing like beauty as holy, it just comes down to the stillness you have and the concentration you have within your own being, the silence you procure like within nature in the spaces you go in. There was this beautiful, beautiful blue jay that was just looking at me, and I did this hike, and it was just looking at me, and I was like, "How you doing?" And he just kept following me around when I was hiking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I realized I was being led to the top of the mountain because I was just following the bird. I was like, "You're so beautiful. I just wanna, can we talk real quick?" Like, but that that is beauty in nature, but I think in humanity, we have to see ourselves. And if we don't love ourselves, how can we see beauty in the souls of others? Yeah.
So what I will say was that again, that was profound. I see. I'm a for the sake of time and respect out of you because I still got a couple more. But I just want to say that when you're talking about this, I hear it as like captivating moments. I talked about that on TV one time. I was on TV, and
Hmm.
one thing I brought up was how do we captivate moments that could be like you said, like watching a blue jay, watching a kid. For me, it's watching kids, nothing creepy about it, but just
No,
watching
no.
innocence, watching them like, live life and like just really embody life in ways that sometimes becomes tainted for a lot of us grown-ups, you know what I'm saying? And really trying to, outside of the kids, just watching even dogs, cats, just little things. Like the other day,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was walking on a train platform and I saw this little bird. I can tell that it was not grown. It was like a baby pigeon, like which I thought was pretty interesting. And then it like went next to me, and so it stood there for quite some time that I actually tried to pet it because I
Okay.
was like, wow, it's so cute. Let me like try to like because it was still. I was like, let me see if it'll let me touch it. Now it hopped and then it is thing, but it did stick around, which I thought was cool. It like drifted
Yeah.
around me. Um,
Yeah.
and captivating moments for me are something that are very important. It helps me recenter myself a lot of times.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
very lucky that I'm what's that I consider myself to be universally attractive, right? I attract, what is it?
Mm,
Babies, animals, women,
yeah.
and men, unfortunately, because of what I have inside of me, right? So that's
Okay.
that's that's what I feel.
I understand.
What I will say is that another question I have is, what does living at the intersection of beauty, resistance, and divine remembrance look
Mm,
like for you? And how do you so define such an existence?
mm. It looks like me praying 5 times a day.
Okay.
It looks like me not letting that go for anything or anyone. Um, it looks like me coming, together with my people in my community and showing that I do want to understand the stories of my elders and like understand how we got here. Um, and be appreciative of their struggle and what they put in. It looks like no matter how things start, ending them in a beautiful way,
Mm,
ending things with beauty, never um, being angry at someone that's not wanting to do what you want them to do. Like you said, that push and pull. Ending things beautifully. Like, okay, this is not working. Let's like, not do this. But respectfully, it looks like just being aligned with the divine decree,
mm,
the book that has been ordained for everyone, and everyone has a book of their own that has been written. The ink has been dried, the pen has been lifted, and it looks like aligning with that. And how do I align with that is through seclusion and dissolving, and being aligned with my responsibilities as a creative, as an artist, by
mm,
making the art that is in my heart.
mm. Respect. In your opinion, what is the most profound aspect of being a woman? Uh,
Oh, that's a nice question.
thank you.
Mhm. The most profound aspects is how spiritually, I would say, the womb. The womb holds a lot of information, and it also connects to the throne of the divine. And I'm saying this with the awareness of what my teachers taught me, because what I understand now more than anything is that there is a name that comes from Ar-Rahim, which is the merciful. And then the womb in Arabic is Ar-Rahm, which is the mercy. It's the mercy. Like the womb, it nurtures, it nourishes, it grows life. And to know on earth that we are a portal of that mercy, it's so profound to me, because a lot of the times we forget that. And as a woman, I want to be more merciful. I want to be more understanding for myself first,
Mm,
and for the women around me, and for the men that need to know that you are seen, you are loved, and you have to be more merciful to yourself and kinder to yourself. So this is profound because it makes me realize the power in mercy. Whenever someone is at the end of their life and someone is about to kill them in a movie, show mercy, show mercy. Like literally, that is where the world is right now. We're at a state of please show mercy. Show mercy. That is the state of the world right now. And what's profound for me is being a woman who carries that mercy in her womb, who carries the understanding of what that means. I can feel in my womb when something ain't right. I can feel in my womb when something's not aligning properly. So I hope that makes sense.
yes, it does. I wanted to just kind of piggyback off of it in my own way. I just want to say that one day I asked this young lady, I said, "What is your power as a woman?" Right? And
Mm,
she came with her own answer. You know, and, it was a bit surface, but I didn't really judge her for it because there was no right answer. I just had my own answer, right? And I think
mm,
what makes a woman profound is her ability to nurture. And when I hear you talking about the womb and how nurturing comes together, but then also showing mercy, I think part of it, of a component of that, excuse me, a component of showing mercy is to have that ability to have compassion. Compassion is also in relation to the ability to nurture, right? And then when you're saying that you feel it from your womb, and I just wanted to make that relation right there. I know it's a distance, right? But I do believe that it's one of the most beautiful aspects that a woman does have is the ability to nurture and show love. So,
Yeah.
um, I wanted to ask, how do you define being a mystic in motion? I just it kind of it's like,
Yeah.
hold
So
on.
mysticism is something that is practiced within different faiths. So mystics are people who are on a path to dissolve into the divine and search for who they are meant to be by not existing. And what that means is that they start to realize how much their existence is preventing them from connecting with the divine. And so we have this saying in mysticism is like die before you die, meaning kill your ego before you leave this earth because you're going to have a struggle when it comes to leaving, when it's time to go for real. Um and so the motion aspect of it is movement, dance. I do like to travel. Part of that is motion, but dance, I started dancing when I was 3. I left dance when I became Muslim because I was told that it was haram and you can't dance and you can't do these things. But when I started to experience other Islamic heritage and like cultures that, are Muslim,
Mhm.
I started to see how I could incorporate it in that. And so I got to learn how to do what is called whirling, and it is practiced by the dervishes in Turkey. But I also grew up praise dancing, and so I truly believe since my mom put me in praise dancing, I've always been this kind of mystic in motion that just wanted to connect to the divine with dance. Yeah, so that's how I would define that.
Mm. Mm. Beautifully said, by the way. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. I thought it was mystic in motion. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to say, what does it mean for your soul to walk through fire and return with water in its hands?
Mm.
My God, that.
Well, I think when I was telling you when I had the second-degree burn,
Mm,
that was from water. That was actually from hot water. I think that this reality, and I do say a lot of things poetically, so it actually has a really simple, like everything that I put within what I sent you is very poetic
mhm,
in a way descriptive of how I experience life, and very basic understanding. When I when I got burnt, I looked at myself in the mirror and like I saw my face was completely changed. Like I literally looked like Two-Face, Like I literally looked like I was burnt here and this side was just regular. And I just looked and I saw my soul and the tears that fell in my hands when I was making dua, like my hands were like this. And that water is so pure because it's water from the body that it's crystallized as like salt, and it's like um something else that someone was telling me it is, but it's if you were to look at the water from your tears, it has a certain um like under a microscope, it has a certain shape, like sacred geometry shape. And
mm,
so when I was crying so much, I was looking at myself like I might not ever look the same again, but I still have my soul and I still have work to do here, you know? And I just started crying and I realized that I have to learn how to be a better person that is not focusing so much on my outer
mm,
and focus on my inner. And so when I think about how the book came to be, I feel like the clouds hold water in their hands and they just drop it down in like beautiful pellets. And it reminded me of the tears that I was feeling nourished to cry because it was nourishing me to cry out that because I was literally dying before I died, like killing my ego, like this world that wants us to focus on image and face and oh you got to look like this and all that. and not working on my inner. So, yeah.
You know, when I was younger, I wasn't the best looking dude. I guess I was homeless. I
Mhm.
looked nice, but I have friends that look way better than me. One day, basically,
I'm
one of my
crying.
friends was talking to me. Yeah, there was this guy who looked like Chris Brown and Drake's offspring, but whatever the case may be. He did. I'm sorry. Sorry. Like he got genetically modified. Whatever the case may be, though, Buddy one day came and told me he was my best friend. He came
Mhm.
and told me one day, he said, "Hey man, I'm kind of jealous of you when you kind of talk to women." I said, "Why, man? You look great. You always have like beautiful woman. I didn't get it." And he was just like, because the women objectify me, they don't really like me.
Get to
They
know
don't
him.
they they just like the look of me or the idea of me. And he was like, when women talk to you, they really like you. They really like your character. I see how they attach to you. And I always thought that was interesting as I continue to grow through life. Now I keep myself
Mhm.
looking a certain way, so that's cool. I obviously have to show up for what I'm doing here, and I understand the psychology of appearance. I
Mhm.
do. I understand how that affects people. Muhammad Ali said it best. He said, if I was a guy on the corner basically who's a bum. They didn't have all this and all this nice stuff and nice car. Would you still listen to me the same? And he was talking to younger people. And people were like, well, not, obviously not really. So that goes to kind of show the psychology of when
Mhm.
you're like looking a certain way, you can attract people to you that will listen to you. Sometimes you attract the wrong people, but people are more inclined
Mhm.
to listen to you based upon the societal programming of
Mhm.
appearance, right?
Yeah.
But I've met a lot of people who appear nice, but the character is just it's
Yeah.
either null and void or it's just not a good character. The character is not as good as they look.
Mhm.
So
I feel
I, wa-
that.
I know that you guide others, and I want to ask, how do we as humans guide each other into alignment with our soul purpose, our soul's
Mhm.
purpose? Like, what would that look like for, like, let's say if you was to guide me, or I was to, reverse, like, what would that look
Mhm.
like?
First, you can only meet people where they're at, and it would look like just listening, because a lot of the times people have the answers within them already. So no one's really guiding anyone. We're all being pulled, or like, I can't explain this particular thing because it's a frequency. We're all being pulled to search for our hidden treasure, to find the hidden treasure that loves to be known. So we're all guiding each other by life experiences. I do it through writing. I have a writer salon called the Dissolving Method, and I do that through writing, and a lot of things come up. It's very cathartic for, my salon members when they are in space with me, and how I begin and how we open, how we close. So that comes up for them, and they tell me, like, you really helped me see my soul, and I never really saw those things before. I never loved it the way you're telling me to do that. And you have no choice when you're in the space now, because you've begun and then now you have to complete. So once you are complete with your journey in the dissolving method experience, you become someone who dissolves in love with your soul. And you're like, I gotta take better care of my soul. Like, And so the guidance in writing is more so about being prepared to facilitate what the person already has inside of them. And when it comes up, how do they now journey, like how do they go on that journey even outside of my salons? So yeah.
And how do you define purpose?
Purpose is, it's just really, mm, it's so nuanced and so deep and complex, but purpose is given, not taken.
Mm,
Purpose is when you sit and you really think about who you are and who you're meant to be, It's gifted to you. It's given. There's an opening. You can't take that. People be like, "Oh, I gotta get out here. I gotta make this bread. I gotta work with this person. I gotta do this. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna get what's mine." Yeah. Okay. Sure. How do you know what's yours? How do you think you deserve anything? Why do you feel so entitled to take and get what's yours when none of this is yours? It's all going to like, I love that these movies, these post-apocalyptic movies, because everything gets eaten by the earth. So I think when you look at that in that way, you start to realize I'm just going to go on this path. It feels nice, it feels good. Let me see what happens. A lot of people name stuff too quick or say like this is what we're gonna do, but you don't know what it is yet. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know your purpose, you don't know why you're here. But a lot of the times purpose is defined by who you are as your inner child. If you still in tune with him or her, your purpose is there waiting to come out. Like your inner child was like, yeah, I want to be, somebody who helps the dogs to get back in, their homes, or I want to be somebody who rides elephants, whatever. Okay, maybe you meant to go and be in Bali on the elephants and washing the elephants and saving the elephants. You know, it's that simple. Like it's really not that complicated. You just gotta tap in with your inner child, like, or I want to be coloring. I want to color. Like I just want to make color, 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 color. Okay, so go make children coloring books. That's your inner child. That's your purpose. Like to make you know kids happy with color. So with coloring, but yeah, that's how I see it. I see if you tapped into your inner child reminds you like
Mm,
all the time your purpose.
mm. So I guess side note, how would you define the difference between your purpose and like a mission, right? Like some of us here that are on this in this realm of time and existence are on a mission. I know I'm
Mm-hmm.
one. I know I just met a couple of other people that are on missions. So how do we? Because with the mission, I don't feel like that comes with like the backing of the inner child. I feel like the purpose can, but the mission is a little bit more of a serious, I think, situation, depending on what the mission is. But a lot of people's missions are serious, So,
Um, Again, it comes back to like, I mean, for me, it comes back to worshiping the Creator with everything I do, and my Creator tells me, give to those in need. Okay, erect masjids, build mosque, um, help the needy, fight against oppression. Okay,
mm,
we don't turn the other cheek in Islam. I'm not getting smacked around. So I'm gonna speak for the oppressed and stand up on a podium and talk against this particular because my creator told me that this is better for my soul to do that because I don't want to leave this earth and saying I could have did more. No, I want to be tapped out, ready to go. Like
mm,
I'm done. I did
mm,
everything. I did everything I needed to do. So the your mission is always aligned with the divine, and your mission is always going to be a lot more um centered and focused on bettering yourself, bettering humanity within that aspect, and
mm.
also healing work, a lot of healing. That's for everybody who is on a mission. Some people mission is just to cause chaos, so I don't know. I'm just saying that's just they woke up today and they like I chose chaos, and I'm like, yeah, you need to go back to sleep. So
So, what do you mean when you say to the origin we belong
Mhm.
and to the origin I will return? I think that's the perfect time to answer.
I mean that we all came from the place, the realm of souls, and that we all bore witness to our creator, and we all said, indeed, you are our Lord, and you are our creator, and the one who made us in the womb of mercy, our souls, we're going to return back. That's where we're going. That's where we're going. We all gonna die. That's all we got all there in common. I be telling people like the only thing me and you got in common right now, honey, is death. It's coming. And then when it comes, I'm just trying to prep for I'm trying to invest in my future. Like and that's in my grave. And I'm trying to have light up in there, light upon light because we feel everything that go on up in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's I'm going back to the original, the first, the one with the Big Bang, the one who did the Big Bang. That's where I'm going, and I'm trying to go there, all ready to go, nothing to carry, just my soul, my heart, pure as it can be, because that's all I could bring. Because you can't carry all this stuff up in here, and you can't none of that stuff going. So that's why even it said, it was said to me that there's a hadith, like a spiritual, Islamic ruling that those who were, you know, poor or impoverished or homeless, they will be the first people at that gate because they experienced having nothing and they didn't have um this love for the world at that time. They just only focus on basic survival needs. And this is so deep. It's so beautiful because I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, you only give me what a soul can bear, because maybe my soul can't bear that. Because I don't know. But I know people who's stronger than a mug. I'm like, you strong, dang. Like I don't know. I mean, like just thinking and hearing their story, I just want to cry. Like I'm like, I'm just in great gratitude, because I'm like, okay, you knew I couldn't bear that, you knew I couldn't bear it. So when I hear their story, I'm thinking, wow, like there's stories about people who were like the poor, the home, like these people who didn't have anything. They'll be in front of those who think they're more righteous, or not even more righteous, but people who think that they did all this work, they did all this work, but it's really the people who people walked over, didn't give their money to, didn't support, didn't help. They will be in the front of those gates to enter paradise. So no matter how we are, no matter where we at, we're turning. And sometimes, you have to look at it like this. There's people who don't know what's happening. People who do know what's happening, but the reality is, um, you can be this way on earth. Like I could be in the hood and not knowing my next move, not knowing like where I'm gonna live, whatever. But the reality is that all is gonna change after my soul leave my body. Everybody gonna show up different. Like, some people gonna have it's gonna be like, yo, was you rich on earth? Because people think the value is in the money, but the value is in that person, how they carried themselves and the struggle they went through, and they still persevered past that, and they still believed, and they still loved, and so that's to me is powerful, because ain't nobody gonna be getting in front of no line on that beautiful day where gonna be some struggles, but anybody getting in front of no line because they have money. That's for sure. So we all returning to that place, and even me just remembering that that's home. That's where none of this stuff, no pain, no nothing. Because I come from Jannah. I come from paradise. Adam is from the first black man from from paradise. Okay, he ate some type of fruit. It wasn't an apple, but he ate something, and then he was sent to earth. But he was a human. He was in another realm. He's like, Adam is like, I'm Benny Adam. I'm a child of Adam. I'm not a child of God, I'm a child of Adam. So Adam came from paradise. So people ask you where you from, I'll be like, heaven. That's where Adam's from. Like, like that was the beginning of humanity. Adam and Hawa, Adam and Eve, two beautiful black people. Like, where am I going? I'm going where my ancestor. My ancestors are from. They from a realm that you and I can't see. But that's what we was at. We would have been chilling up in there if they listened. But we here now. We all doing our things, and we all living our different lives. So yeah.
So, I just want to say before I ask the last question that this was a beautiful interview. Um,
Mhm.
our record was set here. This was the longest interview to ever take
My
place in
God.
the history of human. All together, it was great. I don't know, it was great. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Much love you did have for the plethora of things to say and amalgamation of perspectives that were brought into this interview was beautiful, man. For real, for real. And I look forward to speaking to you after that, after this interview. But what I want to say real quick, the last question is the same question I always ask, and I want to hear what your answer is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
What does being human mean to you?
Mm. Being human means to appreciate every small thing, my breath, my sight, no matter what adversities I'm giving, to appreciate it and to respect whatever is written for me is for me, and whatever is not for me will miss me and will not disrupt my path. Being human also means for me to respect other humans in their life and to appreciate their life and to appreciate all living things and to also be a leader upon the earth, showing goodness, love, care, nurturing, and respect.
Do you want to pray? That was actually pretty cool, man. Would you like to close us out in prayer, and then you could tell people about where to find you at and everything
Okay,
like that? Yeah, go ahead. I would love for you to do that.
sure. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. Ya Allah, we ask that you keep us connected to you. We ask that you guide us to the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and that you give us the favor of those that you love. For you are the love, El Wadud. We ask that you keep us connected to your beauty, your divine grace, your mercy, and put that and instill us with that in our hearts and in our character, and place in our heart light, and in our sight light, and in our tongue light, and in our ears light, and in our hair light, and in our feet light, and in every limb that we have, in every organ that we have, in our lungs, in our liver, everywhere, place in it light so that we can illuminate and glow to be a light in the darkness in these times, to get closer to you in our divine giving purpose, to become one as humanity. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Please tell everybody where to find you at the things that you got going on. Please, let's do a plug for you.
Okay. So you can find me on basirahraheem.com. You can follow me at Basirah Raheem. And I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm also on Threads. I do post on there a lot. On X, I'm Basha Regine. And you can find me also on Basha Regine on Instagram. Basirah Raheem is where .com is where a lot of my events are posted. So if you ever want to link with me in person, you'll see all those events that I have going on. And yeah. Peace, love, and light to you guys.
And before we go, I just wanted to close out and let her know that it was beautiful again to have you on. Amazing interview for those who will be watching this and those who have watched this so far. I want to say thank you. And as we usually do, whatever you're going through, despite of what changes are going on in your life or the rough patches that may arrive, just remember that you have a community of people and that we are all human. I'll see you next time. All right?